Hey, how's it going? JPChivalry going live with Higurashi When They Cry Kai, but more specifically, Chapter 5, Meakashi. Right? Meakashi, right. So yeah, last we left off, we finished 3 chapters? It was 2.5, right. So we started with Chapter 2, 3, and 4, right. Which were kind of short, but I guess it's all, right, we discussed this last night. It's all building up to the next, to the present year, right? Yeah, it's been good. It's been fun. It's been good times. Today's gonna be a short stream. We'll be stopping at 9, so in about 3 hours. Try to get through as much as we can, and then yeah, that'll be it. What else? I think that's it. Not much is going on. Oh yeah, we have the scary truth for today. It's Monday, May 18th. Over 40, Jesus. Over 40 suicides and 400 suicide attempts are linked to Chantix, varenicline, an anti-smoking drug. The U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs has come under attack for continuing to recruit soldiers who served in Iraq and Afghanistan as subjects in tests on Chantix, after the Food and Drug Administration issued 2 warnings about the drug's possible violent side effects. They never said how Chantix stopped people from smoking, just that it could. God. That is, yeah, that's messed up. Oh well. JP, I'm still awake. Hey Gus, how's it going? How was the night? How did you fare? That was a pretty messed up, scary truth. Not gonna lie. But anyways. Pink Egg. Hey Effie, how's it going? How's the birthday been? All the pink eggs. But yeah, not much is going on. Today, box spring, guys. It's been, I don't know. Is that good? Bad? My day is cursed? Oh no. Well, I'm sure we'll hear about it during your stream, right? Maybe? Possibly? But yeah, I'm just gonna be doing a short stream before heading out for the day, you know? Box spring guy, hopefully today, if anything. Nope, you're not gonna talk about it? Okay, gotcha. Enjoy. See you, Effie. Have a good one. Spent it on Discord watching anime with some friends. It's not bad. What anime did you watch? Box spring didn't happen? It didn't happen yesterday. So, today, probably. Most likely. If anything, we're gonna go with a different guy, so that way we can have that delivered. Because we don't have a truck. So, we can't get that delivered unless we have a guy. Donking, right? Apparently you went out of town. So, okay, enjoy. See you, Effie. Thanks for the lurk. Weird? Right, yeah. A little weird. That's fine. Yeah. We were rewatching Trigun? Oh, nice. That's one that I need to watch again. I do remember enjoying that one. That was like Johnny Young Bosch's first voice acting role, I think. Before Bleach, before all the great stuff that he's done. I want to say it's been like, it was within last decade for sure. Somewhere in the early, like maybe 2013, 2014. Damn, so that means 2011 was when I watched Outlaw Star. Because I remember borrowing it from a fraternity brother. And then, promptly gave it back to him because he wanted to watch it again. After I finished. Yeah, Trigun. Nice. What'd you think of it? I guess, yeah, we're good to go. We're gonna continue. Chapter 4. Chapter 5. I watched it before? Right. Right, because you're rewatching it, right? So, what'd you think of it? I think it was a childhood anime. Right. Did you say that just make us? Because I'm 29. And I remember that was like, what, 2000... early 2000s, like 1990s. for Trigun. It must have been late 90s because of Cowboy Bebop, right? Around that time. So yeah, Shion wants to go to school because she wants to check up on Satoshi, and I guess we convinced Mion to do that. So see what happens. President, if you would. For a moment, I forgot that the class president was me. All rise. Looks like you didn't get enough sleep. 26 here, ran on Adult Swim for a while. Right. That's where I remember watching it as well. I know it's been very hot at night lately. Try to get as much sleep as you can. Alright, everyone? Yes, ma'am. Yeah, Cowboy Bebop, Outlaw Star, Trigun, Inuyasha, Fullmetal Alchemist. Those were the days. I'm not sure this place can be called a school, because there are so many different age groups. It's like a kindergarten and an elementary school, but blended together. Inuyasha. It's good times. Oh yeah, they're getting a sequel anime too. It's going to focus on Kagome and Inuyasha's daughter. Since I heard already about what this place was like, I didn't feel that uncomfortable. It wasn't too difficult to act like me on here. As Sis told me, Satoshi-kun looked exhausted. I said hi to him, but he ignored me. Since I knew what he'd been going through, his pain looked apparent to me. I was interested in another person in this classroom. Let's stay up so late to watch that Adult Swim, right? Because usually it would be after midnight, right? For some of those shows. I forget when they started doing that rerun type thing, or encore presentations, right? So they would start at 10, and then at some point they would restart. Yep, yeah. Which was nice, because we didn't have DVR back then, right? What was it, TiVo? Do I want to put that down there? That might be loud. It's fine. Round 12 or 1. That was an encore. Right. So if I missed it, I have to stay up. Or set the VCR to record. Went to 5 a.m. until Cartoon Network started. Right. And those are the days. Can't remember what they showed, because I remember catching Cartoon Network before I would go to school. Yep, relatable. So, nostalgia. I was interested in the person in this classroom. Satoko, Satoshi-kun's little sister. Oh, jeez. She looked as worn out as Satoshi-kun, motionless, like an abandoned doll. Everybody in this room was aware of their circumstances, but no one could do anything for them. So they just acted as though nothing was wrong. VCR recording, right? I had to program it, and sometimes it wouldn't mess up, and I would be like, well, shit. There goes. I'm gonna have to wait, or something. Sometimes it would rerun, right? Mion will only let me have this one day. If I slacked off even a little bit, today would be over with quickly. I had to figure out what I should do in this limited time. I should probably talk to Satoshi-kun. About what? Anything goes. Cheer him up. Sympathize with him. Anything will do. More than anything, I just wanted to chat with him. Not gonna lie, I don't even remember what my mornings before school were even like. I remember procrastinating a lot. Because I would get too caught up in the show. But thankfully I wasn't too far away from the school. Although I think it was middle school, I'd have to wait I'd have to catch the bus. Otherwise that would be SOL. But after that was it was all fine. However, Sis HD had told me. She said Satoshi-kun didn't communicate much with her lately, and had distanced himself from her. I figured I shouldn't talk to him too casually. I wanted to, but maybe it was better to leave him alone. I need to keep Sis's warnings in mind, but instead I decided to ignore them. But the bus would come at 6:40 a.m., so I was up usually by 5:30 so I could get the first shower in. Breakfast. brush your teeth, shower. I think that was our routine. I mean, that's my routine now, basically. Before my other sleeping, use all the hot water. Oh yeah, the race. Yeah, my siblings are older. They are older, so I didn't have to race. Rural living problems. Oh man. So if anything, I just had to race my parents. That was the thing. Or my nephew, if he was living with us at the time, but I'm not sure. I don't think that was until like high school. Let's see. I looked for Satoshi-kun during lunch break. He was walking as if looking for a place where he could be alone. Caught him in the hallway. Satoshi-kun. He turned around, startled by my voice. His facial expression surprised me. He was scowling, clearly a sign of rejection. But I couldn't hesitate. I'd lose my only chance if I did. Hey, how are you? He gave me a look as if saying, do I look fine to you? Never expected to see an expression like that on his face. I felt like my heart was being torn to pieces. As I looked down, he spoke to me. I felt a little glad, but the next thing he said changed that. I'm fine. Is there anything else? Eh? I'll get going if there isn't. Because I want to be alone. Oh, okay. I guess you're tired from work. I'm sure you want some time to yourself. Working today too, right? Where at? Sis had found several jobs for him. He worked at a few different places. He was helping out when necessary at any of the shops Mion introduced him to. As a result, he constantly had to do different tasks in a different environment, almost every time. I remember starting to watch the local morning news so I could see the traffic report in cities, even though I never lived there. Just thought it was cool, there were cameras all across the city, where I lived in the middle of the woods up north. Ah, I see. Kinda get an idea. Everybody's on the morning commute. On top of that, he requested high-paying jobs from Mion because he wanted a large sum of money as soon as possible. In other words, he chose to mostly do manual labor. He was exhausted every day because he wasn't that physically strong. Somebody accident? Oh man. The road's okay up there. I remember, well, still kind of the same, but I guess I'm more lenient now. I remember not enjoying the news or watching it back then. This is cartoons. Just the good old times. One word, snowstorms. Ah. Makes sense. Does it matter? Shouldn't you know, because he helped me get the job? Mion did help him get the job. Yet Satoshi-kun didn't look thankful for that opportunity. This wasn't like him at all. It made me feel sad. You're right. Sorry. Is that all? It sounded so harsh. Why was he being like that? Would he ever stroke my head again? Oh. I couldn't help my tears. Oh. They flowed onto my cheeks. Satoshi-kun looked confused for a moment, but then he frowned again. Sorry. The coach said he wanted you to come back to practice. Oh, this is her. Whoops. I told him I quit, so I won't be going back. But maybe it's a good idea to work out from time to time. You know? Not interested. Didn't know why he was being so hostile towards me. Why did he hate me so much? I was left bewildered. Why? How come? Because I'm busy with work. Isn't it obvious? No, I didn't mean that. Why do you hate me so much? Jeez. Why don't you ask yourself? Ask myself? What? What did I do? I don't understand, Satoshi-kun. I couldn't control my emotions any longer. Streaks of tears ran down my cheeks. Satoshi-kun gave me a hateful glare and walked away without saying another word. Couldn't even stop him. If I tried, he'd hurt me again with another cutting remark. I couldn't bear that, so I just watched him walk away. I wiped my tears and went back to the classroom. I heard somebody crying from inside. What's going on? I looked around the room to see. It was Satoko. I saw her bento box on the floor. I asked one of her classmates what happened, and it seemed that Satoko had bumped into somebody's shoulder when she stood up to go wash the box out. That was all. but Satoko was crying as if afraid she was going to be chided badly. What happened was very minor. She could just pick up the bento box and things would be fine. Looked like the lid came a little loose, but it was definitely fixable. She didn't have to cry like that. Yet Satoko started begging through her tears. Help me, Nini. Because of what happened with Satoshi-kun, I couldn't suppress my emotions very well. So instead, they exploded. I stormed up to Satoko while elbowing her classmates aside. I grabbed her by the head, then threw her into the wall. Jesus! Satoko screamed. She didn't seem to understand what had happened. She was shedding tears and shivering. She must be wondering why I did that. Do you know why I did that? Help, Nini. Satoko cried for her brother's help again. And so I grabbed her head and threw her again. Jesus. Oh my god, right? Hey, Ed Potato, how's it going? Satoko stumbled and crashed into a desk. The desk fell and the contents of the drawers scattered about. Satoko didn't even stand up. She just crouched and trembled while looking up at me. Help, Nini. If you weren't like that. If you weren't like that, Satoshi-kun wouldn't have to suffer. Don't you get it? That's what I wanted to say, but I was too angry to utter another word. I picked up a bunch of textbooks from the floor and threw them at her face. Cry as much as you want, but nothing's gonna change. Why are you crying? Because you think somebody's gonna help you? You don't have any idea what he has to go through to protect you, do you? Do you understand that? Do you understand what you're doing? It shouldn't exist. Die if you don't want to suffer. Go fuck yourself. Don't hurt Satoshi-kun. You deserve to die alone. You just deserve to die. Jesus. Man. Wah. Nini. Wah. What the fuck, right? Well, we're Shion, but man. Desperate cries only increased my irritation. The hell is that? A beatdown, it seems. Stop crying. Don't call your brother for help. Stop it. If you weren't like that, if only you... I kept on throwing things at her. Satoko curled up to protect herself and cried even harder. At that point, a girl with long hair ran up and huddled over her. I knew who that was. Rika Furude, one of Satoko's only friends. Please don't hurt her. She's in a poor situation, so please don't hurt her. Doesn't matter how pathetic she is. She shouldn't rely on Satoshi-kun all the time. Stop spoiling her. Satoshi-kun has to suffer so much because of her. No. Stop. Don't hurt her. Rika also became the target of my anger. I'm trying to teach her something here. If you keep getting in the way, I'll crack your head open. Jesus. I grabbed the chair and lifted it over my head. It wouldn't hurt only a little if I threw this thing at them. Rika tightly closed her eyes and covered Satoko with her body. I didn't care what the consequences would be. I didn't care if I hurt them. Where's the teacher? Stop! Ichan. Rena returned to the classroom and shouted at me. Then Satoshi-kun rushed in while pushing Rena aside, seeming to have grasped the situation immediately. He charged straight at me. Oh jeez. Until my body had hit the locker, I didn't understand what had happened. There was a loud crashing noise. I left a dent in it. I crouched there in pain. Satoko, are you alright? Nini. Wah. Satoko pushed Rika aside, jumped at her brother, and started crying again. What happened? Why were you treated like that? Why? I didn't do anything, but... Mian-san, she suddenly... Wah. What's going on, Mian? Satoshi-kun shouted at me while clutching his sister. He looked fierce. What did Satoko do to deserve this? What did we do? Why do we always have to suffer like this? Why? He released Satoko and rushed up to me, grabbing me by the neck. You said that I should ask myself, didn't you? So why don't you ask yourself? Ask what? I know you feel she's a burden on you. You always have to suffer because of her. You know that, right? If she were stronger, you wouldn't have to suffer. She's the one to blame. Jesus. I don't believe what I said was wrong. But after hearing it, Satoshi-kun went berserk. What the heck do you know? Ow. Satoshi-kun grabbed my hair and threw me to the wall, just like I did to Satoko. However, I wasn't going to back down. I no longer had any control over my emotions at all. You spent so much time protecting her. She'll never stop relying on you until you stop doing that. What the hell do you know about us? What the heck do you know? You persecuted our parents, and now it's us? That's the way of the Sonozaki family, huh? You torture traitors for fun? Is it fun? Is it fun bullying us? Huh? Stop it. That was Rena's voice. She stepped in, looking as fierce as a demon. Satoshi-kun, please. Mii-chan doesn't have any bad intentions. She wanted to help you, but she just lost control a little. Okay? Satoshi-kun looked like he wanted to say something back, but he chose not to. You too, Mii-chan. I know how much you worry about Satoshi-kun. But you can't solve a problem like that. I think you understand, right? Since Satoshi-kun didn't say anything, I kept quiet too. Here, Satoko-chan. You don't have to cry just because you dropped your bento box. Alright? Do you feel better now? She's like 11 years old at this point? Satoko, I'll pick up the bento for you. Oh... hit. Rika started picking up the bento box while its owner continued to cry. Guys, can you help us clean up? The teacher will be back from the vegetable garden soon. This quarrel is over, so don't tell her about it, okay? Classmates looked at each other and nodded, and started picking up the stuff on the floor. Good job, Rena. Here, Satoshi-kun, Mii-chan. Why don't you guys shake hands as a sign of reconciliation? Sorry. I didn't mean to do this. Tears started to roll down my cheeks again. I'm sorry. Too. You have nothing to do with our family situation. I'm sorry. Okay. Mii-chan, why don't you apologize to Satoko-chan now? I was fine with apologizing to Satoshi-kun, but I didn't want to apologize to her. But the situation wouldn't be settled otherwise, so I reluctantly apologized. Satoko nodded, looking discouraged. After that, Rena let me go. My head ached, so I held it with both hands. What was that? What did I do? Didn't want to use this precious time to fight. Sis had warned me. She told me that I shouldn't talk to Satoshi-kun just like that. What did I come here for? I shouldn't have come here if I knew this was going to happen. Stupid. You're stupid, Shion. I was overcome by emotions because I was so worried about Satoshi-kun. Why did things go wrong? Were they wrong from the beginning? I got into a fight with Satoshi-kun. It was totally the opposite of what I wanted. I regretted it. I hated myself for it. I couldn't blame myself enough. My world had been torn apart. I wish the sky would fall and kill me. Jeez. Sis sounded both amazed and confused. You know, I'm busy with the festival preparations, but you certainly made things more complicated. Sorry. Sis tried to say something, but she stopped in the middle. After listening to a few complaints, I started telling her about everything that happened today. Sis had to pretend that the trouble I caused today was her responsibility, which must have been very taxing for her. So I won't get the chance to trade spots for a while? Hey, I think you should be more aware of the hassle I have to go through. Yeah, you're right. Sis had been sympathetic, but maybe I pushed her too far this time. Of course, she'd be hesitant to trade spots considering what I did today. The atmosphere felt awkward, so we were both silent for a while. If you were to get another chance, what would you do, Shion? That was a reasonable question. I wasn't prepared to answer, though. If I had a chance to go to school once again and see Satoshi-kun, what would I do? Would I apologize to him about today? I don't think that would work. That might even upset him again, no matter how hard I tried. Okay. Here's something that he was saying. It was the Sonozaki family who had been harassing his. It would only be natural for him to hold a grudge against us. Why was he only expressing that now? I've been a Sonozaki to him all along. Satoshi-kun stroked my head even though he knew that I was Mion Sonozaki. Sis, do you think that Satoshi-kun is holding a grudge against the Sonozaki family? I think so, yes. It was our family that initiated the persecution of the Hojo family, making them into scapegoats. Even after the dam conflict, it wasn't easy for the Hojo family to live in Hinamizawa. Given all of that, it's not surprising that Satoshi-kun hates us. Sonozaki family who put his family in a devastating situation. But why now? Why is he only expressing that grudge to us now? Why is this happening now? If he wanted to. If he had rejected me in the first place, I wouldn't have wanted to get close to him. My tears wet my cheeks. I didn't bother to wipe them. It's only natural for him to hold a grudge against the Sonozakis. There's nothing unusual about it. Rather, why has he been treating me like a friend? I knew how stupid this question was. I think it's because he was mature. I can't understand it. Why? He'd been treating me as a friend because he was mature. But now that he'd become stressed mentally and physically, he decided to reject me. No matter how hard I thought about it, I couldn't find anything to fault him with. If there was somebody to blame, it'd be somebody I'd never accused before. Why did the hag decide to persecute the Hojo family? Eh? It was his parents that supported the dam project, right? Satoshi-kun had nothing to do with it. Why was he included? Why? Mion couldn't say anything in return. Actually, it wasn't at all hard to guess the reason. The hag didn't give any specific order to harass the Hojo family. She just thought the Hojo family was getting in the way. The people around her noticed what was bothering her and took steps to get rid of it. Though, of course, she must have known how influential her own words were. She didn't just think it, she gave what she must have known would be interpreted as an order. She's the one to blame for initiating the attack on the Hojo family. You said before that the Furude priest wasn't mature because he didn't cooperate, right? Is this the same scenario? The Hojo family wasn't mature because they didn't act in accordance with the other villagers? That's why the hag decided to punish them? Isn't it? Mion couldn't say anything in return, meaning that my accusation was the truth. They already punished the Hojo couple. Feel free to bring them to the torture room in the garden and chop their fingers off or something. But leave Satoshi-kun alone. Satoshi-kun has nothing to do with this. What did he do to deserve this? What did he do wrong? Answer me. Answer me, Mion. Mion! Very well. Please take care of the matter. Goodbye. Mion suddenly changed her tone and hung up. She must have done that to escape from my questions. I was furious. I started redialing the number, but then I remembered that we decided she hung up the phone after using that phrase when she saw the hag coming. I doubted she actually saw the hag. It was the rule, so I couldn't call back for a while. I went to the bathroom to wash my face and cool down. I turned the faucet. The water felt lukewarm. It didn't help me cool down at all. I'm disgusted by my own childishness. I just wanted to fill my void. I didn't care about him, considering that Satoshi-kun was very generous. But I don't know if I can forgive Satoko. That's a different story. Damn. I mean, I don't know. Guess we'll see what's up with Shion as we go through. I was looking up the ceiling with my arms and legs spread out. It's not that I wasn't getting hungry. I didn't live with my parents. I didn't live in the school dorm. That meant I had to cook something myself when I wanted to eat. I knew that, but I still didn't feel like getting up. It had been several days since I began this empty life. Must be tomorrow. The Watanagashi festival, I mean. Oof. I heard the doorbell ringing. I ignored it at first, but it rung persistently. I started hearing knocking alongside Kasai's rude voice. Shion-san, please open up. I brought some food for you. Bought some food for you. Didn't ask him to. Must have known that I hadn't eaten enough and that I'd been feeling down lately. You haven't eaten, have you? No, I'm not hungry. But when Kasai put the food on the table, my stomach reacted in a very primitive way by making some noise. Your stomach is growling. I believe you need to eat. I was hungry, but I had no appetite. I mean, I did have an appetite, but I didn't have the energy to eat. Yet I feel bad wasting the food Kasai had brought. Picked up my chopsticks just to humor him. I thought you were marked by the hag. Is it okay for you to be here? Oryu-san is busy with the festival preparation meetings. She doesn't seem to have time to deal with you right now. Didn't you like croquettes? They're good. Thanks. While I nibbled on the food, Kasai read through the magazines I bought. Have you, never talked to Kasai about something like this before? Since I've always believed myself superior to him psychologically, I hesitated to show my weaknesses to him. That kind of hardship is healthy for your age. Hey, do you know about that? Neon-san told me a little about it. She said she wanted me to assist you. She did she? She looked worried. Your sister is looking out for you. Without responding, I threw the last croquette in my mouth. I thought you might want to know how Satoshi Hojo-kun is doing. I got some information. Would you like me to report? That's not necessary. But since you went through all the trouble, I think I'd better listen. Kasai chuckled, but stopped quickly as if thinking it rude. Seems that Teppei Hojo fled the premises. He seems to be staying at his mistress's place in Okonomiya. Teppei? Who's that? Oh, Satoshi-kun's uncle, huh? Their aunt, Tame Hojo, said Tame. She has a name, Gus. Satoshi and Satoko are the only ones living in the house now. Ever since Tame learned that Teppei had fled to his mistress, she's been in a foul mood. So that must mean that the aunt is being even nastier to Satoko, as Satoshi-kun is taking even more indirect blows. I don't know about Satoshi-kun, but I heard that Satoko-san looks very miserable. The neighbors are spreading rumors about her. If Satoko looks miserable, that means Satoshi-kun must be going through equally miserable torture. Can't you do something about that aunt? Doesn't anybody talk about punishing her? She's also one of the remaining Hojos after all. The uncle is gone, so why not the aunt? The main Sonozaki family ruled against further harassment toward the Hojo family after the death of the couple. They say the police still might be staking out their house due to suspicions about the couple's death. Their deaths have been filed under Orishio-sama's curse, so the Sonozaki family thinks no further divine intervention is necessary. Kasai put on a faint smile. Come to think of it, it is hard not to suspect the involvement of the Sonozaki family, and all the incidents said to be Orishio-sama's curse. Somebody strives to get rid of the hag's concerns on the day of the Watanagashi festival. Furthermore, the Watanagashi festival is going to be held tomorrow. Will the curse strike again this year? If so, who will be the victim? Now that I think about it, there were cases of multiple victims in the past. The first and third year, it was just one, but the second year, the victims were a couple. So it wouldn't be too strange if two people fell victim this year. Seems like a good time. It'd be best for Satoko and her aunt to be the victims. Jesus. Satoshi-kun will be freed from every source of his worries all at once. Kasai, do you know if this year's victim has been selected already? Does the hag make the decision? If so, Sis should know about it by now. Kasai, do you know anything? Shion-san, I don't know anything about that matter. Well, that makes sense. That kind of secret won't make its way to you, because you're just small fry. That's true. I've never received any information regarding that from my connections. But as you know, the Sonozaki family has access to many underground organizations, which I have no channels into. Maybe I could try asking Sis about it, but she won't talk. She's strict about keeping promises, unlike me. If the hag told her to keep a secret, she'd take it to her grave. Damn. Hope Satoko and her aunt will go missing this year. Hey Kasai, I just thought of that. Aren't you going to do something about it? Shion-san, you must be joking. Yeah, I'm just kidding. She's not kidding. Took a glimpse at Kasai. Didn't look like he was actually going to do something to make my wish come true. I wasn't able to go to the village just myself, so I definitely wasn't going to the festival. Didn't care about that. Even so, I was interested in who was going to end up as the victim of the curse. I just kept lying on this couch, playing hooky. Somebody would fall victim in several hours. I had no clue why it had to happen every year, but I was certain that the hag was behind it. All the enemies from the dam conflict had been punished. Only the Hojo couple was left, since most of the other enemies had already gone. The cicadas were crying loudly outside. Made me feel hot. Why was it this hot and humid in June? If Orishio-san was actually punishing people, I prayed for one thing. I prayed that the evil aunt would be punished, and I'd offer up Satoko as a sacrifice. Huh. It's hot. Man. When I woke up, Kasai had already gone. Looks like he cleaned the table in the surrounding room. He put my dirty laundry into the hamper in front of the washing machine too. Being a girl of a sensitive age, I didn't want a man to clean my room. Well, I'd rather thank him than badmouth him. I looked at the clock. It was late afternoon. I had to go grocery shopping. There was nothing left in the fridge, and I'd be having just rice for dinner if I didn't go. At that moment, the phone rang. Must be Kasai, I thought. I did hope it was him. He could have brought more food, so then I wouldn't have to go shopping. I was just being lazy. Didn't feel like going out at all. But it wasn't Kasai on the phone. Sis, where are you calling from? The house? No. Calling from a payphone. So I'll make it quick. Satoshi called me. Satoshi-kun did? He called you? Probably wasn't me he wanted. He called you, I think. Sounded like he wanted to apologize for what happened to the other day. So I thought you should take the call. I told him that I'd call back because I was busy. So, can you call this number? Okay. I was stunned for a second, but then recovered and wrote down the number on the back of a magazine. Thanks. I'll call right away. Good. He's been extremely stressed these days. I don't think he'll listen to me anymore, but I think he'll listen to you. She could have pretended to be me and handled his call, but she passed it over to me. Thanks, Mion. See you, Shion. Before she hung up, I put the handset down. Then after a second, I dialed the number in a flash. I heard the dial tone 3 times, 4 times, and there he was. Hojo residence. Sounded like an adult. His voice sounded a bit tired too, but it definitely was the voice I loved. I got scared. I was scared that he might become sulky again if I mentioned my name. I couldn't open my mouth for a while. Is that you? Satoshi-kun? Oh, sorry that I called you so suddenly. Are you okay now? That was the Satoshi-kun I knew. He didn't sound cold like the other day. Yes, I'm okay now. Good. After that, he went silent. I felt the urge to start a conversation. It wasn't fair. He was the one who called in the first place. Then, he finally spoke. I'm truly sorry for what happened the other day. I am sorry too. You don't have to apologize, because I was the one in the wrong. Well, I mean, she was, right? If this were a face-to-face conversation, he would be stroking my head. It was sad just talking to him over the phone. I won't forgive those people who forced us into this situation. I might be close to them, but it was never you personally. So I wanted to apologize. No, please don't apologize. I was selfish and didn't try to understand your situation very well. We apologized to each other a few times. Are you alright? Satoshi-kun? You're working, you're under a lot of stress. Isn't that too much to handle? I quit my job, since I have enough money now. You did? That's good. You don't have to push yourself anymore, then. That's really good. Satoshi-kun tried to say something, but he dropped it instead. Satoko has it far worse than me. Seems like it. Is she alright? Does she look alright to you? He suddenly sounded upset. I messed up. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was so stupid. I had ruined this miraculous conversation with him. Satoshi-kun didn't respond to my apology, so I stopped apologizing. She was tortured until she was literally torn up. And everybody abandoned her. Everybody did. I didn't. Tried to calm him down. I hated what I just said because of how hollow it sounded. I had no idea what to say next. I felt guilty. Satoshi-kun was desperate to protect Satoko from their evil aunt. But I wished that Satoko would die tomorrow because of that curse. Because of the curse. I was trampling on his desperate hope. Satoko can't take it anymore. So... He cut himself off in the middle. He went quiet for a moment. Must have been choosing his words carefully. Then he finally spoke. His words sounded hollow. I mean, I want her to have fun for one night. Eh? What do you mean? The Higurashi festival's tomorrow, isn't it? I want you to take her there. Oh shit, the phone call. Right. Yeah, I can do that, but why? She's exhausted. So, I think she'd be happy if she could get away from her aunt for even just one night. But why? Why? It's not that I didn't understand why he wanted her taken to the festival. What I didn't understand is why he was asking me to do that. Is there any reason he couldn't take her there himself? I had a hunch that he might disappear, so I kept asking. What do you mean, why? Why don't you take her yourself? He fell silent. Satoshi-kun isn't good at lying or keeping secrets. It was clear that he wanted to hide something. I just have some stuff that I need to take care of with my work tomorrow, so I can't go to the festival. He was lying. Yeah, didn't he just say that he quit his job? Or not yet? I just quit my job. Right, he just quit. So. But he was also stubborn. He wouldn't admit it if I accused him. Eon, can you take her there tomorrow? I wouldn't want to look after Satoko, even at Satoshi-kun's request. But I'm also glad that he's relying on me. It's not like he said I put in my 2 weeks notice or anything. I know it's ridiculous to ask for your help after that incident, but you're the only person I could turn to now. I didn't know what to say. I did know, though, that I wasn't going to turn down his request. Okay, but just for tomorrow. Alright? Hope you'll keep looking after her. What are you saying? I won't do that. Just for tomorrow. It sounded as if you were going to disappear tomorrow. Didn't like the sound of that, so I intentionally sounded sulky. We talked about trivial stuff for just a little while. When the conversation was almost over, Satoshi-kun asked something else. Hey, Mion. I really hate asking this since you might think I'm crazy for saying it, but... What? You... Don't believe in it, right? Believe in what? In Oyashiro-sama's curse. What are you talking about, Satoshi-kun? Oyashiro-sama's curse is those who leave the village, right? That's the rule. Every kid in the village knows that. That's the rule. What's with that suddenly? Are you planning to leave? Though I was kidding, I wanted him to deny it. I'm not thinking about that anymore. He admitted that he thought of it. I guess Rena told me that much. That's good. So you're not leaving the village? No, but I haven't been forgiven yet. Yeah? Satoshi-kun tried to say something but hesitated. He was breathing so heavily. Was he sick? Hey, do you feel alright, Satoshi-kun? Sorry. I'm fine. Guess you're tired. Think you should get some rest. He sounded distinctly more sickly from when this conversation had started. He breathed heavily when punctuating his words. Satoshi-kun repeated his question. Mion, I'll ask you one more time. If you believe in Oyashiro-sama's curse, what did he want me to say? Could I make him feel relieved with my answer? How should I respond? The answer was simple. There's no curse. There can't possibly be. Didn't know what was bothering him. But I wanted to make him feel better by laughing his worries away. But Satoshi-kun instead fell silent. Couldn't tell if he was happy with my answer or not. One thing was certain, I didn't make him feel any better. Sorry that I asked such a weird question. Sorry. I felt like I let him down, so I apologized in a rush. Whether it's a real curse or somebody's conspiracy, I won't disappear, and I won't fall victim to it. You won't disappear. No. Not until I buy that teddy bear. I'll get the money pretty soon. I won't go anywhere until then. He chuckled. I knew he was trying to relieve me, but it worked the opposite way. It sounded as though he didn't care what would happen after he bought the teddy bear. Oh, my aunt is home. I have to go. Oh, okay. Neon. Huh? Even though he wanted to hang up the phone because of his aunt coming back, Satoshi-kun took a breath to tell me something important. I'll leave Satoko to you. I should have said yes right away, but I still couldn't forgive Satoko, so I just kept quiet. Forget what I said. Bye. Oh. He was obviously disappointed. What had I done? I wanted to apologize. I wished I could. But it was too late. Dalton left, no doubt. Now that was depressing. The torn diary. Plea ignored. Oh man. There's the bat. Well, let's see how the Higurashi festival goes. So wait, does that mean Mion's gonna take Satoko, or Shion's actually gonna go? Forget. Somebody whispered to me from behind. He told me that I was going to be the victim of the curse this year. So I'm gonna disappear soon. There'll be nobody left to take care of Satoko. Who whispered to him? Somebody whispered to me from behind. They told me that I don't have much time, that I won't stay as myself for much longer. So I had to make the best of the days I had left. What could I leave for Satoko? She wanted that huge teddy bear. She wanted a peaceful life in which nobody would bully her. I whispered to the person at my back, bestow your violent nature and formidable strength upon me. I want your peaceful mind, filled with hatred. Jeez. Well, that was chapter 5. Let's go. The day of the Higurashi Festival. June 20th, 1982, 1:40 p.m. What was I doing today? Nothing in particular. Nothing at all. 1:40, right? Just wanted to play hooky. I woke up in the afternoon. I ate instant food for lunch while watching boring TV programs. I had a light headache, so I lay down on the sofa. I wouldn't wake up again if I went to sleep. Whatever. I decided to sleep. And I already told Sis that Satoshi-kun had asked her to look after Satoko. Didn't have to do anything myself. I fell asleep, though my head was aching a little bit. That would be all I'd have to deal with. June 20th, 1982, 5:02 p.m. The aunt believed that all the villagers frowned upon her because her brother-in-law and his wife were pro-Dam activists. She surely experienced some fallout during the time of the dispute, but people had stopped looking coldly upon her, even though she assumed otherwise. She was paranoid, believing that all the villagers hated her, and so she decided to hate them back. Her attitude, of course, begot hatred from the villagers, and the situation became exactly the way she thought it was from the start. What came first, their poor relationships with the neighbors, or her husband's affair? She didn't know herself. Her husband claimed that he got a lover because he was fed up with her attitude. She in turn claimed that their relationships with the neighbors went sour because her husband had damaged their reputation. Only Satoshi was aware that both happened at almost the same time. Their quarrels had become a daily routine now. When the husband came home, late, the wife would shout at him at the entrance. Satoshi wondered why they didn't get a divorce, their marriage being as rotten as it was. Chica yo. What's up, Gus? But he secretly knew the reason for that too. It was the fortune his parents had left. His aunt had hidden their bank book and stamp and never allowed her husband access to them. So, her husband would search the house for them. She'd find out he stole some money from her purse. This would cause yet another fight. Jeez. Satoshi had never been aware that his parents had that much money when they were alive. After their death, however, one of his relatives told him. He was informed that his parents had left a large sum of money in some bank account. Satoshi couldn't understand why they had that kind of money, because his family had been, as far as he knew, poor. Well, because they paid him off, right? For the support. That was because of the dam project. Right. His parents probably got the money in return for their cooperation with the government. They had strived to get more villagers on their side, provided information to them, and whatnot. The money was probably compensation for their efforts. His aunt and uncle never had any intention to adopt them until they heard about the money. After someone from some financial institution revealed its existence, they appeared to adopt Satoko and Satoshi. The couple would fight every day. Eventually, Satoshi's uncle started spending more time at his mistress's home. He realized that he had no reason to return to his own home, because he'd just end up with a fight with his wife if he did. When he stopped coming home, Satoshi felt relieved. Neither their uncle nor their aunt treated the two siblings very well. Satoshi's aunt wouldn't have to vent her frustration upon them. The reason the couple fought was their corrupted relationship, so if they separated, there wouldn't be any more fights. Satoshi had thought that at first. But even after they separated, his aunt still had a short temper. Another woman had stolen her husband. The villagers must have been talking behind her back. It was mortifyingly embarrassing, since she lost an opponent to fight. Satoshi's aunt directed her hatred towards the siblings. Satoshi had been observing her. He learned when she would get upset and how to avoid her attention. He managed to get by without upsetting her by turning a keen eye to her behavior and avoiding conflicts. But Satoko couldn't do that. She hated her aunt and didn't even try to hide it. Satoshi told her to behave in their aunt's presence, but her eyes were always filled with hatred. Satoshi strived to reduce the conflict between them as much as possible. He stepped in to mend their relationship. It was a heavy burden for him, though, because he was still just a boy. He bore so much. He covered for his little sister by lying and maneuvering. He tried to maintain a tangible sense of peace, but he couldn't do that forever. The relationship between Satoko and her aunt had already spiraled out of control. Satoshi found something in the trash. There probably wasn't a legitimate place for trash disposal. If it was, sanitation workers would come and pick it up. He passed by the street all the time, so he noticed when there were new things dumped there. He found a plain-looking desk, of the kind likely to be seen in offices. Somebody must have dumped it within the past few days. His aunt liked to bring usable trash home. She'd had Satoshi help bring a chest home just a few days ago. If he told her about the desk, she'd want it. His aunt hated to find bugs and garbage in the drawers, so she'd always open them to check before carrying the thing home. Satoshi opened all the drawers, all of which were empty. After that, he turned around and walked for about 5 steps. He was standing in a knee-high bush. There, he laid something he'd been carrying all the time, until today. It'd be very hard to find unless you specifically knew it was there to begin with. Looking satisfied, Satoshi looked around for some landmark to remember the place by. June 20th, 1982, 5:51 p.m. Hey, old pal. See you showed up again this year. Better get ready for us. Gwahaha. You're as peppy as ever. Oh? She a newcomer? Uh-huh. This is Ren and Ryugu. Don't underestimate her. She's good. Hahaha, no I'm not. Nice to meet you. Yo, you too. I brought all kinds of prizes this year. It'll be a real battle to win. Try and take them all with you if you can. Ren tends to dote on cute stuff. Yeah, that stuffed animal looks just like her type. Looks like just her type. What? How so cute. I want to take it home with me. Hey, the booth isn't open yet. Whoa. Hahaha. Stop it, Rena. He says the booth isn't open yet. You can run him into the ground once he opens it up. Oh, it's mine. I'm taking it home. Rena lost her marbles over the stuffed animal. Everybody laughed. Everybody except Satoko. She was standing by herself, some distance from the crowd. Her eyes looked dull. What is it, Rika? Rika walked up to Satoko, smiling ear to ear in an effort to cheer her up. Forget your worries today. Let's just have fun. Satoko looked down. Even if she got to have fun today, her circumstances at home wouldn't change. Satoko, your evil aunt isn't around. I know that. So why don't you have fun? Lipa! 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 Oh, sorry, but I don't feel like it. Could you please leave me alone? Why aren't you smiling? Satoko sulkily glimpsed at Rika. She gave her a look, as though she wanted to say that Rika should know the reason. Even if she could have fun today, nothing would change between her and her evil aunt. No matter how fun the festival was, once she went home, her aunt would be there. The aunt would find something wrong with Satoko and get mad, and shout at her so loudly that the neighbors would hear. How could she have fun, even just for today, while knowing all that? Satoko didn't say that out loud, but her eyes betrayed her emotions to Rika. So, Satoko, if your suffering ends today, will you smile? Satoko gasped. She thought that Rika might do something to help, but soon after she realized that Rika was just trying to comfort her. Could her suffering end today? Because of Rika? How? Satoko knew that there was really nothing Rika could do, and so after just one moment of freedom, Satoko fell into depression again. Rika, don't give me false hopes. Satoko. Rika's voice was clearer than Satoko had ever heard before. It's already been decided. June 20th, 1982, 8:11 p.m. Satoshi snuck out the window after supper. He heard the distant ruckus of the festival. The festival would end at 9 p.m. After the Tanagashi ceremony, there was going to be a raffle drawing. So there were two types of people in Hinamizawa: the people who would go home for dinner, and the ones who would stay until the raffle was over. Either relaxing at home or still at the festival, there were only those two patterns. On top of that, there weren't many neighbors in the vicinity of Satoshi's house. As a result, he found nobody on the streets. On that night, the small village seemed especially desolate. Satoshi knew it was going to be like this, but he would keep worrying until he saw it for himself. He was barefooted, but started running without hesitation. He felt as though he'd become a wild animal, running on his bare feet. He got the impression that he could run faster than usual. Not only his running ability, his vision, his hearing, and his sense of smell. All his senses were keener, including his sixth sense. He could almost sense the presence of people in the distance, if only when crouching like an animal. It felt strange, as though he had stepped into another world. He'd been feeling tense and anxious until today, battling with his own fear. But now he felt as though he had metamorphosed into a different person. June 20th, 1982, 8:37 p.m. Alright everyone, I'm gonna explain how the raffle works. Please gather around the altar. The festival had reached its climax, the raffle was going to start. But the women who were dancing and those who were waiting for the raffle gathered around the altar. This is the first time they'd held a raffle. They didn't do one in 1983, right? The playing committee decided to hold one from this year onward to attract more people to the festival. At first, the prizes were things the committee members had donated, but Oryu, not appreciating how pathetic they looked, had them thrown away. Oryu took the initiative and bought a brand new TV, a washing machine, a cooling fan, and other such things for the raffle. The committee wanted to keep it small initially, but it turned out big thanks to her. Oryu was upset because the committee members weren't enthusiastic enough in her opinion. Some of the members thought it would be very difficult to prepare prizes of equal value the following year, so this might be the very first and last raffle. Right, there it is. Thanks to you, we have such wonderful prizes this year, Oryu-san. They must have cost a lot, didn't they? We can reimburse you from our budget. Buffoon. No point in reimbursing that. It was never about the money. Idiots. No, don't say that. This raffle's all thanks to you, Oryu-san. It's not like I'm doing this all by myself. Don't be ridiculous. The mayor, Kimiyoshi, was having a tough time pacifying Oryu. All of a sudden, one of the committee members burst into the tent in a rush. He looked upset, so Kimiyoshi assumed that somebody probably got hurt in an accident. What's going on, Makino-san? Hope you're not having a heart attack. Kimiyoshi made a joke to calm him down. Makino, however, still looked tense, whispered something to Kimiyoshi. Even without hearing the exchange between Makino and Kimiyoshi, it was plain as day there was bad news. Odio-san, I have unpleasant news, if you don't mind. Kimiyoshi, accompanied by Makino, moved to Odio's side and spoke in a very serious tone. Kimiyoshi whispered to her the exact same words Makino told him. Oh dear, this is bad. Ain't unexpected. What happens thrice will happen a fourth time. That's not funny, Odio-san. Oh, that was her. Okay. You're right, it isn't. It's just another hassle. The police are trying to identify the body. I heard that the face was completely destroyed, so it'll be difficult. It's quite clear who it is, though. Eh? Do you know who it might be? Odio glared at Kimiyoshi and started chuckling. Idiot. Must be some impudent lad who didn't come to the Watanagashi festival. People who respect Oyashiro-sama won't get involved in something like that. Odio kept laughing. Kimiyoshi and Makino didn't know how to react to that. June 20th, 1982, 9:04 p.m. My mouth is I don't know, it's dry. This is merciless. Oh hey, Toishi. Kuma-chan, every death is merciless, unless the dead wish for it. They have my condolences. How's it going over there? Did you find something that could identify the body? The forensic investigators shook their heads. The victim is wearing sandals and casual clothes. They must be from this neighborhood. You should be able to identify the corpse by asking around. That's the way we do it. Section manager says this case might become classified. So be careful with that. Gotcha. Kumagai gathered some officers and gave them directions. Dr. Ide has arrived. Doctor, it's over here. The young doctor got out of his car and headed in the victim's direction. Hello. Sorry to have kept you waiting. Had to help with the raffle. You must have drunk a lot at the festival, Doctor. Are you sure you're sober? Maybe I should run a breathalyzer test on you just to be safe. I'm fine. My assistant is driving. Clever of you. Hey, let the doctor pass. There's an area cordoned off with blue plastic sheets. An officer rolled up the sheet and let Oishi and EDA pass. The forensic people were taking photos from many different angles. The blood splatters and bloody sandals were left untouched, marked with chalk and indicated with small alphabetized plates. Not used to seeing things like this. EDA took a handkerchief and covered his nose. You should breathe through your mouth. Well, you might sense the smell visually, though. The body appeared to be that of a middle-aged woman who was soaked in blood. It looked like a middle-aged woman because of the hair and what she was wearing. The reason why no one could be certain it was a middle-aged woman was because its face was completely pulverized. Jeez, this is brutal. I'm sure it was done out of malice. The note of malice, right? The victim must have been murdered right here, judging from the pattern of I mean, that's Satoka with the alcohol. Right, never mind. The victim must have been murdered right here, judging from the pattern of the blood splatters and the soles of the sandals. And even though not many people take this road, the body is right in the middle of it. It's very unusual to see a culprit who would bludgeon their victim until their face was completely destroyed. Also, can you look at her arms? Oishi put on a latex gloves and lifted the corpse's arm. See? Spotless, aren't they? Are you saying that the victim didn't try to protect her head? There's no signs of a struggle? Right, you are. I think the victim lost consciousness with the first blow. Then the culprit kept beating to complete the murder. The victim was probably lying face down at the time. Judging from the stains on her clothes, body is face up now. The culprit seems to have flipped the victim over in order to smash her face, even though by that point, her death was certain. Ide looked like he was going to throw up, both because of the putrid smell and Oishi's reasoning. Smashing the victim's face is clearly a sign of grudge, in my experience. It's a very profound grudge, too. That means the culprit must be someone very close to the victim. I understand you didn't call me to resuscitate her. Doctor, do you know who the victim is? If you do, I don't have to waste time questioning the neighbors. Irie looked at the body once again, looked away quickly and thought. Then after a while, Irie left the investigation area without saying anything. I'm sorry. I don't know. Eh? Are you sure? Luigi smirked and looked into Irie's eyes, as though Irie was hiding something. I'm not hiding anything. Guess you're still under the influence, Doctor. Maybe you'll remember when you're sober. Let me know if you do. Luigi tapped Irie on the back. The doctor, saying he wanted some fresh air, left the scene. Kumagai returned. Luigi-san, the section manager is on the radio. The one in the first car. Irie lied. Huh? Nothing. Hurry up and question the neighbors. The victim must be from this area. June 20th, 1982, 9:39 p.m. Here he is. Luigi-san. Thank you for coming here this late at night. I know you have school tomorrow. I'm really sorry to bother you. No problem. Where's your father? My stepfather doesn't come home much. Uh-huh. Since when? When did he come home last? I don't know. I heard he's living with a woman who works at a club in Okonomiya or something. I don't remember exactly when, but I guess I saw him a few weeks ago. Uh-huh. Do you have your father's address? No. He's living with a woman who works at a club. Do you know the name of the... Do you know the name of the place? No. No, it's in Okonomiya and that's all. What's your father's name? Teppei Hojo. Luigi signaled Kumagai with his chin and nodded while taking notes. Are your mother and father getting along well? I don't know much about that, but I don't think so. I see. I want you to tell me honestly, do you know anyone who might have been holding a grudge against your stepmother? I don't. Alright, please let me know if you remember something. Here's my card. My number is on it. Okay. I'll ask to see you again for further inquiries. And if you see your stepfather, please let him know that we want to contact him. Kuma-chan, drive him home, will you? Oh, no. I can go home by myself. Please, let us drive you home. There's a possibility that the culprit who murdered your aunt is roaming around the neighborhood. Might get hurt too. Thank you for your consideration, but really I'm fine. Soshi tried to reject the offer, but Luigi and Kumagai insisted. In the end, Soshi was forced to accept. He turned around to leave, when Luigi spoke to him as if he remembered something he'd forgotten to say. Hojo-san. Yes? Don't worry, it's no problem. We'll catch the culprit soon. Do you have any leads? Yes, we do. Like what? That's confidential. Ordinary people might think that Luigi was trying to cheer the poor kid up with a joke. Well, usually people get pretty worked up when they commit murder. Though of course there are some exceptions. What kind of evidence do you find when the culprit's worked up? When somebody is in a very excited condition, their body shows many symptoms, like sweat, lots of hair. We often find the culprit's hair at crime scenes. Well, this is outside, so it's a bit different, but still. Did you find their hair? I don't know yet. Forensic guys are searching the scene right now. I'm anxious to see what they'll bring me. Foo. Excuse me, I have to go now. Please, it's Kuma-chan, would you? Sure. See you again soon, Hojo-san. I'll let you know if there's any progress in the investigation. Let me know when you remember something. Let's cooperate to catch the murderer of your stepmother. Foo. We're back to Shion. This is called the morning after the Higurashi festival to tell me that the curse had struck again for the 4th time. The victim was the evil aunt who was harassing Satoshi-kun and Satoko. Satoshi-kun's suffering should be over now, since the problem was with Satoko and the aunt's relationship to begin with. Maybe I should have celebrated, but I wasn't in the mood for some reason. Did the police have a lead on the suspect? Sis went quiet when I asked that. I don't know. Alicia seems to be questioning people in the neighborhood. Thinks the culprit is somebody close to the victim. Being identical words. Being identical twins, Sis and I think very much alike. If I suspected Satoshi-kun of being the murderer, so would she. Because of this, I didn't have to mention the obvious. Does Satoshi-kun have an alibi for that day? I don't know. I heaved a huge sigh. Are you stupid? He was at the festival. Didn't you see him there? Yeah, right. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that. I heaved another sigh. Sis was stupid enough to forget to make an alibi for him, even though the murder of his aunt alone would raise enough suspicion. So that means he did do it? That's not important now. The problem is whether he has an alibi or not. Well, the police are going to come here later. I'll tell them I was with him at the festival. Sis, lying out of the blue like that won't work. If you haven't done anything to ensure his alibi, it's too late now. Please just be honest with them. I can't trust your acting skills. It might raise more suspicion if you make something up on the spot. Yeah, sorry. Damn. So they spent a whole year practicing because of this incident. Man, that's cool. I mean, it's not cool because murder's not cool, but, you know, she sounded depressed. I was the one who should have been depressed. Leon usually handles things well, but she's not too good with emergencies. I was left worried for the future of the Sonozaki family. Mion must have been embarrassed. She soon changed the subject. Guess you haven't been able to work lately, have you? You're right, I haven't. Thanks to you. Sorry about that. I'll hide somewhere until tonight, so maybe you can work today. Sis has been appearing in public places during festival preparations and whatnot. As a result, I hadn't been able to pretend to be her. Hadn't been able to work. As someone who had to support myself, it was a bit of a pain. To be honest, I didn't feel like working, but I couldn't afford to be sitting around either. When I left my apartment door before leaving, the door of the next apartment over opened and Kasai appeared. Shion-san, are you heading out? Yeah, I'm gonna work, since this gave me time until tonight. Can you give me a ride? Shion-san, wouldn't it be safer for you to take a few days off? The police seem to be staking out the main house. I don't think it's a good idea to leave. I appreciate your concern, but I have to make money to survive. Kasai might suggest we donate money to my cause. However, I'd sworn to myself when I started living here that I wouldn't depend on Kasai. When I don't obey anyone else's rules, I stick to my own. Kasai could tell that I was adamant in my decision. So after repeating himself a couple times as a formal procedure, he decided to give me a ride after all. Every time we went to my uncle's store by car, we stopped at this traffic light. I knew it was going to happen again, but it still irritated me. Pedestrians passed by in front of the car. I was startled to see that one of them looked like Satoshi-kun. It was him. Though I'd spoken with him on the phone just a couple days before, it had been a while since I saw him last. Kasai, sorry, but could you tell me, my uncle, that I can't come today? I'm getting off here. What? Shion-san. Kasai looked taken aback, but I got out of the car regardless. The light turned green. The car behind him honked while Kasai was shouting at me, so we had to start moving. Satoshi-kun was on his bike. It was going really slowly. I caught up with him in a flash and tapped him on the back. Hello. I'm surprised to see you in Okadamiya, Satoshi-kun. If I talked to him with a smile, he might smile back. So I smiled brightly as I could. Mion. He looked tired as always, but as I could tell, he was trying to smile back. My worries suddenly disappeared. I was certain he looked happy. I was aware of that myself, so it must have been obvious to Satoshi-kun. I don't know the circumstances, but you look happy. Yeah, I am happy. I'm happy because you look happy. When I teased him, he looked a bit embarrassed. It was like we were back in the good old days. I felt even happier than before. What's going on, Satoshi-kun? Did something good happen? Not really. My aunt died and I have to deal with the police and the neighbors. Might have asked something dumb. He seemed to be okay with it, though. He frowned a bit at first, but Satoshi-kun continued smiling gently. He looked worn out, satisfied, like he had accomplished something great. That was the mood I sensed from him. So, I was convinced. The one who killed that wicked aunt who tormented Satoko was him. I had absolutely no proof, but I knew it intuitively. So I admitted all those questions. I knew Satoshi-kun's motive for killing his aunt, and how badly he was driven into a corner. I knew the environment and the situation he was in, and I knew Satoshi-kun's feelings. I knew all of that. So I admitted all those questions. I wanted to celebrate his release from that curse, so I smiled like nothing was different as I asked. Where are you going, Satoshi-kun? To work? That's right. I have to make a stop before that, though. A stop? Hahaha. I have to make sure it's still there, otherwise I'll continue feeling really anxious. That conversation reminded me. The reason I started this part-time job was to buy Satoko a huge teddy bear. He was being sold at the toy store just down the street. I recall that the teddy bear was very expensive. Satoko's birthday was right after the festival. I wasn't sure what day, though. Wait, didn't he say he quit his job? Maybe he was going to greet his ex-coworkers and clean out his locker or something. Either way, he'd be completely free very soon. Maybe he hadn't been paid yet. That's why he wanted to check if they still had the teddy bear. Maybe he was only getting paid on Satoko's birthday. When we got near the toy store, he rushed to the display window. He looked relieved that it hadn't been sold yet. Good. Alright. It's still there. You've earned enough money already, haven't you? Why don't you reserve it? You probably hadn't thought of that. He really did need someone to look after him. I looked into the display window over his shoulder. The teddy bear wasn't that cute. In my opinion, it looked huge and cramped in the middle of the store's showcase. Really, it looked more like a display model than an item for sale. You don't see a price tag. Is that really for sale? How much is it? Yeah. I'm sure they sell it. What about the price? Does it fit your budget? It's alright. I already checked. Satoshi-kun thought I was seizing him again. He pouted and looked a little sulky. There's no problem then. Why don't you go reserve it now? Then you won't have to feel anxious anymore. We entered the store and looked for a clerk. Is anybody here? Nice. Maybe you can get it without paying. No, Mion. Stealing is bad. I'm just kidding. I'm trying to make you laugh. Do you think I'd really do that? No. Sorry. Satoshi-kun smiled apologetically. I puffed up my cheeks to tease him. It had really been a while since the last time we did this. In between those times, many undesirable things happened that I wanted to forget. But now I felt as though all those things simply vanished into the air around us. I found an old person napping in the back. Must be the clerk, I thought. He looked to be fast asleep. Excuse me. You work here, right? I poked his shoulder, but he didn't look like he was going to wake up. When he did that, a middle-aged woman wearing an apron came in. Grandpa, he fell asleep again. We have customers. I'm really sorry, you two. He's been very flaky, you know. The middle-aged woman shook the old man awake and told him to go back to the living room. She went to the cash register after that. That was so embarrassing. So how can I help you? I'd like to reserve something. That big teddy bear in the display window. Oh, that one? Are you sure? That one is really expensive. You know that, right? Yes. I think I have enough. He'll get paid really soon, so I'd like to reserve it. The woman looked a bit hesitant at first, but she eventually wrote down Satoshi-kun's name and accepted the reservation. Satoshi-kun received a slip of paper. See? You don't have to worry about the teddy bear anymore. Yeah, I'll get paid soon, too. I feel relieved now. He would have kept coming to check every day if he hadn't done this now. He would have spent his time needlessly worrying. Satoshi-kun looked very relieved indeed. I should have done it sooner. Usually people do that right away when they want something. It's very rare for somebody to not to think of that. It's so very fun to tease them. Those painful days seem unbelievable now. Satoshi-kun looked like he'd forgotten everything that happened up until yesterday. Anyway, thanks. Satoshi-kun held out his hand to touch my head. Was he gonna stroke it? I felt my face reddening already. Even before he touched my head, I felt tingly, remembering the last time. I didn't care about the murder, or whatever else happened. As long as Satoshi-kun had his freedom, everything would be alright. I'd be content as long as we could live happily from today onward. But Satoshi-kun's hand never reached my head. I slowly opened my eyes, only to realize that the situation had drastically changed. What? There were 4 men in suits blocking our way. It looked as though they'd been waiting for us to exit the toy store. Oh. Hello. The oldest of the 4 men stepped forward while smirking. Never met this man, but it looked like he knew both Mion and Satoshi-kun. He was probably a cop. I ran a search for information in my head, and found some right away. Her mind palace? Good to see both of you. Hojo-san and Sonozaki-san. Sorry to bother you at a time like this. This must be Kurado Uishi, the cop who's investigating the series of mysterious deaths. He thinks that the Sonozaki family is behind all the cases. In other words, he's an enemy of the Sonozaki family. He has deep connections with other investigation divisions in the police force, and likes to nose around the businesses in this area. He annoys the Sonozaki family enough as it is by interfering with its Yakuza business, let alone his suspicions on the series of mysterious deaths. Naturally, as the family's successor, he's not a welcome figure to Mion Sonozaki. I tried to imagine how Sis would react. Oh, Uishi-san, thank you for working hard for our safety. Oh, the 4 of you want something from this toy store? A doll, maybe? Pfft. I know what they want, and it's not a toy. It's probably not me either. They want Satoshi-kun. I took a look at Satoshi-kun. He seemed a bit uncomfortable. The other 2 cops loosely surrounded us to prevent our escape. Hojo-san, I'd like to talk to you about something. What for? Are you taking him to the station? You don't have to go with him, Satoshi-kun. Let's get out of here. I pushed on his shoulder, but he just stood there, looking pale and bewildered. Bewildered? No, he actually looked resigned. Then, I recalled Sis's mistake. It's obvious that he killed his aunt from circumstances. You don't even have to look at the crime scene. How could Mion have failed to create an alibi? That stupid Mion must have spoken to the police without making anything up at all. She must have not told them that she knew where Satoshi-kun was. If she hadn't done anything, the villagers wouldn't work to help her. It was just a matter of time until the police uncovered Satoshi-kun's complete lack of an alibi. The police were trying to corner him and lead him to confess. I looked at Satoshi-kun's face once again. He looked like a dead man. Probably didn't know he could refuse to be interrogated. If he was taken to the station and grilled by Uishi, he'd confess in a minute. Somebody had to protect him. Nobody had ever been there for him. I had to step up now. But how? Would it be possible to alter what Mion had already told him, saying it was a mistake? That wasn't going to work. If I had more time, I'd come up with an excellent idea. But I didn't have that much time at all. To pressure him, the cops were drawing nearer. Satoshi-kun must have felt intimidated. He might end up turning himself in due to the pressure while I'm stuck trying to come up with something. I have to do something now. I have to say something. Otherwise Satoshi-kun might give in. I have to save him. Uishi drew nearer. Satoshi-kun fell back. Won't take much time. Come on, don't be scared. Foo. Won't take much time. He just said it. He just said he wouldn't let him out if he caught him now. Satoshi-kun, don't give in. If you give in now, everything you've been working for will be ruined. Oh. Satoshi-kun looked like he was at his breaking point. Uishi was clearly aware of it. Oishi smirked, and he held out his arm to grab Satoshi-kun's soldier. I felt electrified when I saw that. That hand should be allowed to touch Satoshi-kun. The moment Oishi touched his shoulder, he'd give in. He'd go to the police station and confess everything. Do you want to know his alibi? Oishi turned his face toward me. His hand left hanging in the air. I wasn't very prepared for this. I just had to stop Oishi no matter what. I only needed to gain some time. Didn't really matter what I said. That's right. I want to get Hojo-san's alibi. Nah, we must not be doing our jobs. We can't seem to confirm his whereabouts at the time of the crime. It's shameful, but we decided to question him in person. You don't have to ask him. I can confirm his alibi. Oh, really? That'd help? You already told me that you were at the festival that night, and many people can confirm it. It'd be easier if we could confirm that Hojo-san was with you. But I don't think you mentioned him when I questioned you last time, did you? Are you going to change your statement now? Even though no one at the festival saw Hojo-san, are you going to tell me he was with you? That's right. He was with me. Wouldn't that be enough? I know you were there with your other friends that night. I saw that myself. Are you still saying that you were with him? Isn't that a little too hard to believe? Isn't it? I wish he approached me with a creepy smile. Was he teasing me because my excuse sounded funny? I didn't think so. He was frustrated due to being interrupted when he was about to catch a big fish. Are you saying that you forgot that you were with him, but just now remembered you actually were? Mion Sonozaki-san? I did get a little scared, but I couldn't stop myself. I could save Satoshi-kun if I revealed my real identity. I was aware of the risk. Grandma would certainly capture me if I revealed it. I didn't think of the consequences after that. So then she reveals it. I'm not Mion Sonozaki. I didn't go to the Watanagashi festival in the first place. Huh? Satoshi-kun and I were talking in a restaurant in Okonomiya at the time. The name of the place is Angel Mart. You can confirm that with the owner if you want. I wish he was still smirking, but apparently felt confused. What are you saying? If you aren't Mion, then who are you? I'm Shion Sonozaki, Mion's twin sister. Pleasure to meet you, Oishi-san. I wish he looked perplexed, like he didn't believe what I'd said. He frowned. Didn't know Mion Sonozaki had a twin sister. Are you trying to fool me? Not at all. Why don't you check my family register or whatever? Should I call sis? All the cops looked bewildered now. Shion Sonozaki-san. Yes, that's me. Is there anything wrong? Can you come with us? If you're testifying that you were with Hojo-san that night, I have to talk to you too. Sure thing. Please go easy on us. The cops gathered at their car and started discussing something. Looked like they never expected this to happen. I hope to be able to fake Satoshi-kun's alibi for at least a little while. Shouldn't be too difficult to talk to sis about this, then forge up an alibi together. Satoshi-kun, tell them you were chatting with me at Angel Mart that night, no matter what they ask, okay? I'll confirm your alibi. Tell them you don't remember that night too clearly, or maybe you should just keep silent. Satoshi-kun wore a startled expression. Though I was telling him something important, he'd apparently decided not to listen. Can you hear me, Satoshi-kun? You can't mess this up, okay? Okay. You must have been feeling deceived. I wonder. He just confessed that I wasn't Mion, but her twin sister. I really had been deceiving him. Are you upset? Why? Because I've been fooling you. Satoshi-kun started laughing. I didn't know why he'd laugh, because he wasn't the type of person who would laugh in order to hide something. I finally understand why you were weird sometimes in class. I've been thinking it was a little bit strange. Aren't you upset that I've been fooling you? Satoshi-kun looked puzzled. It was like he didn't know whether he should be upset about it or not. Or maybe he was only pretending to be that way. So, this isn't the first time we met, is it? Well, yes, that's right. Okay. How do you write your name? With characters for poetry and sound. Shion. Huh. Huh? That's a beautiful name. Could you please come with us to the station? We can get you instant coffee or tea if you like. How does this bite Shion in the ass? Absentee present? What? Well, there's a teddy bear. Page 29. Either Satoshi-kun was smart or very lucky. Oh, what? Or maybe it wasn't him. The police found nothing at the crime scene to indicate his involvement in the murder. Yes, Satoshi-kun was still the prime suspect. Considering his home environment, he had a strong enough motive. He had no alibi. The police had everything other than physical evidence. It wasn't surprising that Oishi took a chance. He probably didn't expect me to step in, but what I did was too little to avert his suspicion of Satoshi-kun. Oishi believed that Satoshi-kun did it. He was waiting for Satoshi-kun to fall apart and confess. That's what both Oishi and I were thinking. But that hypothesis was destroyed later on. I'll not talk about it now, but Oishi's theory will be disproven, and the police will be thrown into shock. A question comes to mind. That is, who saved Satoshi-kun? I can only think of the possibility that the Sonozaki family invented the culprit. The drug addict. Well, time to save. And then continue. How many chapters have gone? There, 6 out of 16. Alright. Okay. Let's continue. Depending on how long this chapter goes, this might be the last one. Cops are smart enough to separate us during questioning. Oh, but Oishi didn't come to talk to me. His aim was Satoshi-kun and nobody else. I got a young cop who just talked about ordinary things. He must have been trying to ease me into the interrogation. When I realized that, the clumsy way he spoke began to frustrate me. Satoshi-kun, alright. Didn't think Oishi really bought my testimony. Must have been trying to get Satoshi-kun to confess in spite of that. All I could do was pray that he'd keep quiet. Oh, didn't realize I didn't. Whoa, okay, now I'm opening Battle.net. Whoops. Hold on. Let's wait for Battle.net to open up. Close that out. Okay. The phone on the desk rang, and the cop picked it up. This is Kumagai. What? Alright. I understand. Right away. He hung up and told me somebody had come to retrieve me. Looked like Satoshi-kun had to stay. Were they going to continue the interrogation just because he had nobody to pick him up? Although, maybe I should have been worrying more about myself. The hack had probably heard about me by now, since I revealed my real identity to the police. I couldn't hide any longer. I was going to receive some sort of punishment. I had no idea what she'd end up doing to me. The degree of punishment for a traitor is always severe in the world of the Sonozakis. The punishment must be carried out. It's to protect the family's reputation. It's carried out no matter what. Maybe I should kiss my pinky fingers while I still can. I asked the young cop just in case. Hey, did you know that in America, if a condemned criminal gets arrested in a state which has banned capital punishment, they'll refuse to surrender him to the state prosecuting him if that state hasn't banned it? Well, maybe it was too difficult for him. He just looked puzzled. A glossy black car was waiting for me in front of the police station. A few men from my dad's office bowed to me. It's been a long time, Shion-san. Where's Kasai? Kasai had been helping me ever since my escape from the school. They wouldn't allow him to walk free. How's Sis doing? Does she have something to say about this? We were only told to bring you to the main house. Please ask her when you get there. After saying that, he escorted me into the car. A man sat on either side of me. Obviously, they didn't want me to escape. Thinking of Satoshi-kun, I looked back at the police station. Hold on tight, Satoshi-kun. I'll grin and bear it too. The car started off roughly. It was never a good occasion when I went to this house. Except when Mion and I were really small, oblivious of what the Sonozaki name meant for us. I'd been here only when I had to attend boring family councils. The car parked behind the house. Traders aren't allowed in through the main gate. I got out of the car. Looked like Sis would be the only person to receive me. I almost spoke to her casually, but her cold gaze froze me before I could. It's been a while, Shion. Never expected to see you other than on New Year's. It gave me the chills to hear her greet me in that cold manner. It's a pleasure to see you again, Yansama. I feel overjoyed to have the chance to see you other than on New Year's. I responded, trying to sound likewise. Our leader is deeply upset. I wonder how you'll explain yourself. I have nothing to explain. I had no excuse. I escaped from the school solely because I couldn't stand it there. That was all. Shion, come this way. Everyone is waiting for you. Mion escorted me, and the others followed. I went to the garden, not into the house. As we passed through the huge yard into the woods, I realized where she was taking me. When we were little, we were told never to go near these woods. I had a vague idea of what was in the back of them. I had heard there was a hidden entrance to the underground torture room, where they used to punish the enemies of the family. The more hideous rumors I heard about the family, the more credible those rumors seemed. While I wasn't completely certain about any of that, I never expected to see the torture room for myself. We came to a concave clearing in the middle of the woods. I saw a metal door at the bottom of it. The door reminded me of a bomb shelter. So, this is the underground torture room, huh? I was surprised to hear my own voice. My voice was trembling. It made me realize that I was more scared than I thought. Nobody answered my question. The very air felt tense. Oh, what's wrong with my mouth today? According to the family rules, one of the twins must be eliminated. Was I finally going to be eliminated? I realized I had been underestimating my punishment. I hadn't been aware of real terror until now. I just thought I was. Beyond the steel door, the air had an intimidating smell. This really was happening to me. I shouldn't allow myself to give in to fear. I felt like saying something rude, but my lips were dry. My fingers were fidgeting. I was escorted through the narrow hallway and down a few sets of stairs. There, I saw another huge steel door. So, this was the place. It was It was a spacious and utterly odd-looking room. The room had two sections that looked completely different. One side looked like a lounge. I saw several high-ranking members of the family council sitting on cushions there, looking expressionless. The other half was tiled, as if in a large public bath. That was already puzzling enough. And there were those things. To be honest, they had captured my attention from the moment I arrived. I noticed them even before I saw the lounge and the tiled space. Interesting. I just didn't want to accept that they existed. Couldn't stand straight. I almost dropped to my knees. But I couldn't. Two young men had been holding me by the arms since I got here. There were oddly shaped things hanging from the wall. I was just refusing to recognize what they were. I knew exactly what they were called. I see. I understood that. Those eerily shaped objects were torture devices from hell. What's up, Gus? Also, I realized, right, Rena didn't die in Chapter 2, right? She's the only one that lived, I think. Damn fool. How dare you return? The hag, sitting at the front of the lounge, intimidated me in a horrid voice. She kept cursing me for a little while, but she was so incensed that I could barely tell what she was saying. I knew what she was trying to say, though. The hag was willing to forgive my escape from the school, but once I revealed my identity to the police, she had to step in. Since I had disobeyed the family rule, she, as the leader, was forced to punish me. Moreover, there was one thing that bothered her more than anything else. The fact that I covered for Satoshi-kun. The Hojo family had been seen as traitors to the village ever since the dam conflict. Satoshi-kun is still considered one of them. She couldn't accept that I was connected to him. To me, this was a bit unexpected. I'd escaped from the school that Hag had put me in. all the while, I believed that was what she was upset about. But in fact, she said that she was the most uncomfortable with my connections with Satoshi-kun. Satoshi-kun. I couldn't believe this. Of course, I knew that Satoshi-kun's family was persecuted for their betrayal. But I didn't think that Satoshi-kun was also burdened with that responsibility. He has nothing to do with that. I understand that his parents were ostracized, but he shouldn't be. Shut the hell up. Oh, jeez. The hag interrupted me with a shout, which made me cower in fear. She continued slandering the Hojos and said that Satoshi-kun was a cursed child. I started feeling pissed off. What did he do to deserve this? What was he being blamed for? It was too late when I realized I'd said that out loud. The hag looked furious. It obviously upset her. I decided to repeat myself to make it very clear how I felt. What are you saying, you old hag? Everything you spouted is nonsense. Huh? Who the hell do you think you're talking to? Shut the fuck up, let me finish. I shouted loudly to silence the hag. What the fuck do you know about Satoshi-kun? How could you talk about him like he's some pest when you don't know anything about him? I know how sweet he is. You don't like him because he's a Hojo? How fucking stupid is that? Is even your brain archaic or what? You hate the fact that a Sonozaki was with the Hojo that much? That's not just stupid, that's beyond stupid. Boy, I never expected to feel like Juliet. My voice became hoarse from shouting. My face was messy with tears. Even so, I didn't feel like putting a stop to my emotional explosion. I was all too aware that I was doing this just to overwhelm my fear. The hag was glaring at me while breathing heavily. I glared back at her as fiercely as I could. Eventually, I realized that her sticking point was my relationship with Satoshi-kun. She wasn't only upset that I had a mere connection with him. I see. Looks like Mion mentioned that too. It was as though Mion was wearing a mask. She didn't budge under my penetrating glare. That was what the hag was really unhappy about. The fact that I was in love with Satoshi-kun. Maniacal laugh. I don't give a shit about his family background or my own. Yeah, I'll admit that I'm in love with him. I love Satoshi Hojo-kun. I love him so much. Is that so wrong? Do you need a reason to love somebody? I could see the relatives shaking their heads in turmoil. Among them, I saw my mom. She must have been trying to protect me. But even she wouldn't look at me. Instead, she looked silently at the floor. Did you guys in the back hear me? Am I wrong? You know how sweet Satoshi-kun is in an instant if you bother to get to know him. How can you put him down without... Mion held out a hand to silence me. Then, she slowly walked in my direction. That is enough, Shion. I understand what you wanted to say. Mion put her head close to mine and whispered. Shion, I know how you feel, but you can't go back after coming this far. You have to pay for what you did. What did I do? Why me? That's ridiculous. Shion. Mion's face turned cold again, and she calmly told me, You're probably right, but this is Hinamizawa, and we are Sonozakis, as I'm sure you understand. We are the leaders of the three families, and you are the twin sister of the successor, Mion Sonozaki. Yet, I interrupted her. We haven't agreed on that matter ever since I came back. You're full of this reputation shit. Hinamizawa? The Sonozakis? So what? I don't give a fuck about... Listen, Mion interrupted me, just like I did her. How many people did you depend on to start your new life in Okadamiya? Chill shot through my spine. Kasai-san is in the cell at the back. Why? Why Kasai? I knew why, of course. The moment I got caught, those who helped me were just destined to meet the same fate. We were all subject to the punishment of betrayal. Maybe my punishment would be lighter than what they'd be going through. Kasai and Uncle Yoshiro must have been treated much worse than this. Everybody who helped me was falling victim. I know that you're prepared for your punishment, but have you ever thought of the consequences that Kasai-san and Uncle Yoshiro will have to face? My head rapidly cooled down. My aggression was all used up. I should be able to bear whatever punishment they'd bring on me. But I resented the fact that I'd be putting the people who supported me at risk. Shion, apologize to Granny. If you do, the others won't have to suffer. Alright? But But Mion, did I really do something wrong? Was any of what I did that bad? The moment Mion learned that I wasn't willing to apologize, her expression turned cold again. She turned her back to me and returned to the lounge. I talked back to the hag in a really harsh manner. I told her that I didn't do anything wrong, yet I involved many people to who I owed so much. Went without saying, this was my responsibility. I was the sole person to blame, and no fault lay with them. Yes, Kasai and Yoshiro-san were blameless, just as Satoshi-kun was. But then, as if she read my mind, Mion turned around and gave a slight nod. It was possible that something was going to happen to Satoshi-kun. Tapa Kasai and Uncle Yoshiro. Wait, sis. That can't happen. Satoshi-kun, I mean, nobody else should be punished. Please forgive them. What is it, Shion? Tears rolled down my cheeks. I no longer cared about my pride. I'm sorry. I was wrong. Please forgive me. I should have said what the hag wanted to hear. Yet she still looked unsatisfied. Maybe that wasn't too surprising. I just denounced her so badly in front of the relatives. She wouldn't forgive me so easily. Just then, Mion spoke as the successor. So, Shion, how do you propose to pay for this? Pay? What do you want me to do? Nothing could be scarier than being told to pay up while standing next to horrid-looking torture devices. I was completely terrified. I couldn't move, I'm trembling. Mion saw that and whispered to our grandmother. The hag nodded. Mion summoned some young minions and gave them an order. They removed one of the torture devices hanging on the wall, then set a table in front of me and put the device on top of it. What is this? It's a tool for removing fingernails. Do you know how to use it? No way. I shook as I stared at the tool. Ouch. Looked like a giant nail clipper. You probably put the part that looks like a beak between your finger and the fingernail, pulling them apart if you squeeze the handle. Oh, jeez. The chills ran up and down my spine when I imagined that. Each fingernail represents one of your responsibilities, Shion Zanazaki. No matter which ones you choose, you must remove 3 nails yourself. 3? 1 for Kasai, 1 for Uncle Yoshiro, and the last for Satoshi-kun. It was a fairly reasonable number. Will you really not punish the others? Promise me. Please let them go if I do this. This is a punishment, not a negotiation. If you don't like the procedure, I'll do it. Just give me a second, I'm doing it. I put the device to my little finger while shaking badly. If my fingernail were shorter, it would have been harder. The metal beak captured my little finger beautifully. The subordinates then stabilized my left hand with a different restraining tool. That seemed reasonable, because my finger would slip out if it weren't restrained like that. As the subordinates buckled up the leather straps, I realized that this was really happening. There was no escape. Somewhere in my mind, I'd been thinking that they might forgive me after just the gesture alone. I shouldn't have been so naive. The emotions I'd been holding back appeared in the form of tears and kept rolling down my cheeks. It was like my feelings were being squeezed out until the very last strip. Something even more horrifying followed this. There was a silence that awaited my next action. So, what should I do now? One of the subordinates pointed to the handle and told me to either squeeze it or hit it. I recommended the latter would be easier to make it quick. Nobody said anything after that. There was nothing to hear but the sound of my sweat dripping onto the floor. The onlookers were staring at me silently, waiting for me to execute my punishment. Jesus. Both the hag and Mion, they were also anticipating it. I could refuse, but that meant I wouldn't be paying up. This punishment exists to offer payment in exchange for the safety of those who help me. If I refused, they would suffer. Huff. Huff. Huh. Huh. I started breathing heavily. I knew that if I did this, the others would go free. This was, if you thought about it, quite a good deal. If it weren't me, it wouldn't be just 3 fingernails. If it were Kasai, he'd have to sacrifice his little finger, or something even worse. I knew that. It was my selfish desire to get away from that school. Why did Kasai have to suffer because of that? I knew that. Why did Uncle Yoshiro have to suffer just because he provided me with a job? Huff, 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 huff. Neither the hag and the other relatives still hated the Hojos, so I didn't know what they'd do to Satoshi-kun if I didn't do this. Would they bring Satoshi-kun here and tell him to do the same? Would they tell him to remove his fingernails in exchange for forgiving me? Huff, 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 huff. He'd do it. He'd sacrifice himself with no hesitation in order to save others. My sweat dripped onto the table through my nose. I'd do it, yes. It was only 3 fingernails. It might hurt a lot, but I wouldn't die. The fingernails would grow back. Wouldn't even leave a huge scar. I shouldn't be afraid. The punishment was minimal because it was me. If I refused to do this, the others would be punished much more severely. I couldn't let that happen to Kasai, Uncle Yoshiro, or Satoshi-kun. I was the only one who should be punished. So, I just needed to bear the pain. Ow. Ha. I wasn't just breathing heavily anymore. I was also moaning faintly, ready to scream at any moment. That's right, make it quick. This wasn't torture, so I didn't have to prolong the moment of pain. I should do it in one swift blow. That way my pain and fear would be minimalized. I raised my right arm. Quickly. The pain would be lessened if I did it in one stroke. It'd be much more painful if I messed it up. Ha. 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 I held my breath. I felt as if my body was frozen. I was choking. The chills crept up my spine. Don't be afraid, Shion. Fingernails are just a tiny fraction of the whole body. Just 1 square centimeter. I could do this. I could bear it. Whoa! I smacked my right hand onto the handle of the device. I sensed the noise tingle through my body instead of through my ears. At the same time, I felt a pain I'd never experienced before. Ouch. A moment later, the pain pulsated with my heartbeat. Oh, I clenched my teeth. Felt like my teeth were cracking. Tightly shut my eyes until my eyes got squeezed up. The pain wouldn't fade. Rather, it swelled with my blood pressure. Felt as though I was bloating like a balloon. Timidly, I opened my eyes. I found that my little finger wasn't really drenched in blood. It was bleeding, but not much. Certainly not enough to explain how much it hurt. My fingernail was open, just like the hood of a car. Jesus. Couldn't believe what I was saying. It was overwhelming. It occurred to me that I'd only done 1 out of 3. I have to repeat this 2 more times. Did I have to remove the nails from my ring and middle fingers as well? Gross. I looked at the hag and Mion, begging for mercy, but they were just silently staring at me, as if the show had only just begun. I saw no hint of mercy in their eyes. They wouldn't be changing their minds. Since I said 3, it had to be 3. They wouldn't forgive me until I removed 2 more fingernails. Mion, look, isn't this enough? It really hurts, you know that? You see that in my eyes, don't you? It really hurts. Mion answered, still wearing a cold look. Can't keep going? Shion? She didn't mean that it was sufficient. What she meant is that the others would have to take the remaining punishment if I didn't. I knew that. I really did know. I'll do it. This is easy. You sadist. This doesn't scare me. This doesn't hurt. I quickly moved the metal beak and set it on my ring finger, and smacked it with no hesitation. Instead of making it quick, maybe I was just rushing out of fear. I'd messed up. The torture tool had clipped just the tip of my fingernail. The pain, however, was equal. I couldn't believe that I only chipped it. Damn. Did I have to do it again? Did I have to continue removing the nail from my ring finger? That much pain again? Again? Shion. No. I don't want to do it. I couldn't bear it anymore. I started crying shamelessly. I can't take it anymore. It's too painful. Forgive me, please. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. They didn't seem to hear my voice. I felt as though there was an invisible barrier between us. They showed no mercy. They were just here to witness this ritual. So rather than sympathetic, they looked amazed by my screw-up. Mion walked up to me and whispered to my crying face, "Shion, there's just a bit more to go. Hang in there." No, can't do this. It really hurts. It really does. Mion shook her head and signaled its subordinates. He came from behind me. He covered my head with something like a neck cap. It was a blindfold. One of them pinned me in a Nelson hold, restricting my movement. No, stop it. No. I couldn't overpower the guy behind me. And I felt something strange on my left hand. The other guy was doing something with the torture tool. He put the metal beak between my ring finger and its fingernail. No. Mom, help me. Mom. Left hand was fixed in the restraint, so I couldn't put up much protest anyway. But even that left hand was pressed down by his rough palms until it hurt, robbing it of the freedom even to tremble. It had no hesitation. It was made very clear to me how merciless people can be. Robbed of my vision, all I could do was clench my teeth against the pain assailing me. If there was anything I was thankful for, it was that he was well practiced, and had ripped off both of my fingernails cleanly. Pain and screaming might induce narcotic chemicals in the brain. While screaming, I started losing consciousness. Oh man, that's gonna be fun to watch when we get there. I'm sure that gets adapted, right? I woke up. My memories were missing. I couldn't remember how I got back to my room. I held my head with both hands. My left hand was bandaged. The fingers that had their nails removed had swollen like hot dogs. I paid with those 3 fingernails for what I did. The hag had said something after the punishment, but I didn't remember any of it. I was taken to a hospital in Okonomiya. The car shook on the way, adding extra pain on top of what I had already felt. Somebody gave me some aspirin. They worked just like they said on TV, but they didn't last more than 10 minutes. I swallowed the pills without water. Ouch. While I was spacing out in the waiting lounge, Kasai showed up. He probably couldn't check if I was alright. Obviously it wasn't. He must have understood that from my bandaged left arm, dangling from my shoulder. Kasai, on the other hand, looked just fine. At least on the outside. I was relieved that my sacrifice had meant something. Kasai didn't say anything. I couldn't tell if he wanted to tell me something or not, because he looked so emotionless. Kasai. Yes? He paused shortly before answering. I could tell he was upset. Didn't regret revealing my true identity in order to protect Satoshi-kun. But I hadn't wanted Kasai or Uncle Yoshiro to be hurt. I had been contradicting myself. Do you know how Uncle Yoshiro is doing? No. I'm sure he's alright, because he's strong. Even so, you should apologize to him. Okay. I wanted to ask him about Satoshi-kun too. I wondered if he was captured or harassed by the Sonozaki family because of me. But I was hesitant to ask Kasai. After all, I'd chosen Satoshi-kun over them. Was Satoshi-kun alright? I hoped he wouldn't get caught or incarcerated somewhere. I paid the hospital bill, and Kasai gave me a ride home. I finally realized that somebody was knocking on my door. Shion-san, it's not healthy to sleep so much. It was Kasai. He put some side dishes on the table and started nibbling at them. How do you feel? Depressed. Ha! Have you been resting? Have you been eating? I've been eating the stuff left in the fridge. Otherwise, I'd been either sleeping or staring at the ceiling. It had been 3 days. Just been lying down since then. Woke up every now and then in my shallow sleep sleep, but I didn't feel like getting up or thinking. It felt like I'd just been floating the whole time. My appetite was gone, but it came back with the smell of the food Kasai brought. I wasn't able to think of anything to talk to Kasai about, so I just ate silently. I got a call from Mion-san yesterday. She was saying she called you a few times, but never got through. The moment I heard Mion's name, I felt my wounds throb. I didn't stop Kasai and continued. Because you paid up, the family decided to close the matter. You will officially withdraw from St. Lucia's and transfer to a school in Okonomiya. They're finally acknowledging my right to make my own decisions, huh? Indeed. They said you could live as yourself now, under a few conditions. You will stay away from Hinamizawa. You won't pretend to be Mion Sarasaki. You won't show up in public places, and so on. This means, in exchange for acknowledging me, they don't want me to hang around. That's correct. Of course, it is only temporary, until things cool down. There is no set duration, but I think you should stay inconspicuous at least until the end of the year. It'd be good enough just to live in Okonomiya quietly, the way it was before. Kasai put on a sad smile. I smiled back at him, likewise. Before the conversation ended, I should ask him what I wanted to know. How's Satoshi-kun doing? I wish that Kasai would assure me of his safety right away, but he didn't answer like that. Kasai, is he alright? Shion-san. Kasai put his chopsticks down. The family wants you to forget about him. What? Shion-san. I don't want to get in an argument with you, so I'll not get into the details. I'm only relating to what the family wants. What are you talking about? What details, Kasai? Kasai pretended as though he didn't hear me and started eating again. I've never seen him get so stubborn like this. The Sonozaki family had been using the Hojo family as a scapegoat. They must have concluded that the Sonozaki shouldn't be in love with the Hojo. I didn't like that. Satoko is a friend of Mion's at school. Would it be okay if Satoshi-kun and I were the same gender? Anyway, if I did something conspicuous again, they might do something to him for real. Just like they forced me to remove my own fingernails. The Sonozaki family wouldn't hesitate. They'd torture him if need be. Maybe, if I really loved him, I should stay away. Satoshi-kun won't show up in Okonomiya, unless he rejoins the Hinamizawa fighters. I'd have to pretend to be Mion if I wanted to go to Hinamizawa. But I didn't think she'd cooperate with me. Even if she did, it'd be some time down the road. Even if they told me not to see him. I already had no means of doing that again. Oh wait, Mion gave me his number a little while ago. I could call him. Maybe ask to meet with him secretly. But if I got caught again, they wouldn't cut me any slack. Should I risk it? What the hell did I even want from Satoshi-kun? Kasai, can I be alone for a moment? Kasai started putting away his food in a rush, assuming that I wanted him to leave. Oh no, that's not what I meant. Take your time and finish your food. I just want to take a walk. Can't lock this place up if I don't step out with you. Kasai quickly put away his meal and followed me out. Just to be clear, I'm not going out to see Satoshi-kun, alright? You see. Turned around and started walking. My destination was rather pathetic. It was a toy store that sold that giant teddy bear. I couldn't deny that I was somewhat expecting Satoshi-kun to pass by there. Couldn't stop myself from looking at the faces of passerby who resembled him. I looked into the store's window. The teddy bear was gone. Congrats, Satoshi-kun. Looks like you were able to buy it. His evil aunt had died and his wicked uncle was living with his mistress. Satoshi-kun succeeded in fulfilling his duty as a big brother by buying his little sister that huge teddy bear. There was nobody left to hurt him. He was free from his tiresome efforts. He was completely free from pain. Over time, he retrieved his smile, and he'd go back to being the Satoshi-kun I love. But I wouldn't be there with him. Honk honk. I heard a car honking. I didn't think it was honking at me at first, but it was so persistent that I had to look up. The person waving at me from their car was Irie. He was waving at me all carefree, oblivious to my feelings. Sonozaki-san, long time no see. Are you meeting up with the Hojo-san? No, I'm not. I know he looks into that store's windows all the time, so I assumed you were expecting him here or something. No, I'm just passing by. Looks like he was able to buy that teddy bear. Irie seemed to know about the teddy bear as well. He smiled upon seeing its empty display space. Yesterday was Toko-chan's birthday. He must have celebrated it with that teddy bear. He doesn't have to work so hard anymore, huh? Indeed. Did he turn in his resignation to the Hinamizawa fighters? Oh, does that even exist? I never received one. Did you, Sonozaki-san? No, I didn't. So that means he still belongs to the team. I think he'll be back after things have settled down. But I know he'll be sad if he doesn't see you there. Irie teased me. He's a grown-up after all. He must have been trying to sound optimistic because he knew I was feeling a bit down. You can come back to the team anytime you want. Might as well be empty without you. I'm thinking of providing you with a maid costume once you come back. I burst into laughter. Irie sure hadn't changed. Oh, I almost forgot. I can tell you my name now. Sorry, Coach. I was lying about my identity. I'm not Mion. I'm her twin sister, Shion. I've been pretending to be her for a few reasons. Eh? What? You're Mion-san's twin sister? He was totally taken aback. I burst into laughter again. Yes, I'm Shion Sonozaki. I'm forced to live quietly because my grandmother hates me, though. Never realized that Mion-san had a twin sister. Same here. Suddenly, a loud voice interrupted us. The voice sounded mean and greasy, unlike Irie's. It was him, Uishi. Hello, Dr. Irie. Thank you for your cooperation last night. Don't mention it. I wasn't of much help. We were just going through the motions. It was obvious that they'd hated each other. Irie whispered to me. I'm leaving now. Do you want to get in my car? I can drive you home. Irie figured that Uishi was after me, so he's giving me a chance to slip away. Looking at Uishi's face, it was clear that his focus was on me, not Irie. He probably intended to interrogate me until my testimony broke. I was sure I could talk my way out of it. It'd just be a waste of time. Alright, Coach. Let's get going. Oh, are you two going somewhere together? Yes. We're on our way to get some stuff for the team. We have to drop by a few places, so will you excuse us? Irie bowed. I followed suit. I had to admire how good he was at lying. He's a grown-up after all. Uishi seemed to know it was a lie. But he didn't have a warrant, so he couldn't stop us. I moved to get into Irie's car. How are your wounds, Shion Sonozaki-san? I gasped when I heard that. My left hand was bandaged. It was unsightly, so I kept it in my pocket. There was no way Uishi could have been able to see it. They'll heal with no problems if they don't get infected. I tore my fingernails off a couple times myself when I was a kid. But look, they look beautiful now, don't they? Foo foo foo. Men's fingernails shouldn't look beautiful. That gives me the creeps. Uishi scratched his head and chuckled. He's supposed to be one of the best cops at the Okinomiya PD, and he knows about all the underground activities in the region. Must have heard about my payment from somewhere. Still, that happened in the secret basement of the Sonozaki main house. Couldn't underestimate this guy's sources. Thank you for your kind words. We'll be going now. Excuse us. Shion Sonozaki-san, why don't we get coffee together sometime? What? Are you hitting on me? If you like. Foo foo foo. Sorry. Time flies. Can't waste any of that precious time on things that don't interest me. You got me there. How about this, then? You can leave any time if you get bored of talking to me. I won't stop you. How does that sound? I don't mind you talking, but I won't talk back. I doubt you could call it a conversation. Yes, that'd be fine. You can just listen, and I'll talk. You can just listen to an old man ramble while sipping on a cup of coffee. He was being strangely persistent. Didn't look like he was trying to poke a hole in my statement. What would he even talk about? I got a bit curious, even though I was still skeptical. Coach. I think I'll go with the old man instead. Shion-san. I winked at him and told him not to worry. Irie didn't insist. He got in his car and drove off. I wish he backed his car up so I could get in. I hopped in the back seat since I didn't want to sit next to him. Are we really going to a cafe? If you could direct me to one with no connection to your family, that'd be great. Why don't you just take me to the station then? I wish he carefully checked for oncoming traffic and then started driving. I wish he took me to the police station, as I thought he might. If he had taken me to a nice cafe, I would have scored some points. Or whatever. I thought it'd be more convenient if we came here. You can still go home if you get bored. Huff, try your best not to bore me then. Do you want me to go into the station and hand in hand with you? I wish he chuckled and got out of the car. He escorted me inside the station. I thought he'd take me to an interrogation room, but instead he took me to an office of the investigation division. Officers in both suits and uniforms were working at their desks, answering phones. There was a desk with a plate that said section manager, and nearby there were couches and a table. I wish he told me to sit on the couch and started making some instant coffee. Never been to this part of the police station. I looked around in curiosity. Do you think I'd take you to an interrogation room? I wish he brought over a tray with coffee cups on it. You're treating me better than I expected. Thought you could whip me or something. My tastes don't run that way. So, I thought you wanted to talk. Alright, I'll cut to the chase. Are you in love with Satoshi Hojo-san? What? It's getting boring already. I'm going home. Okay, please forget that. I wish he must have known why I had to remove my fingernails. I wasn't trying to confirm that I liked Satoshi-kun. What he was really saying was that he knew already. I already talked to Detective Kumagai about Satoshi-kun's alibi that day. Of course, I read Kumagai-kun's report. I know you were with him. I'll just repeat the same statement no matter how many times you ask. Don't think you can poke holes in it. No, that's not what I want. You're a smart person. I know that wouldn't work for you. I wonder what you're after. You're wasting your time if you want information on Satoshi-kun. There's nothing more to talk about. This is boring me after all. I'm going home, since that was our agreement. Excuse me. I got up off the couch. Shion-san, I did want to get Satoshi-san's alibi from you. I admit it. That's it then. It's boring. I'm going home. I turned around and started walking. I wish he didn't get anxious, but instead spoke a little louder. But Shion-san, what I want to ask you about is his alibi for yesterday, not the day of the murder. His alibi for yesterday? Why? What does that have to do with the Zan's death? It's because Satoshi-kun has been missing since then. What? Didn't you know that he went missing? Couldn't say anything, but my expression answered Oishi's question anyway. What's going on? Missing? What? Why don't you take a seat? What do you mean Satoshi-kun has gone missing? What the hell? We only know one thing for sure. He withdrew all of his savings at an ATM in the Okonomiya post office before 3 p.m. yesterday. We don't know his whereabouts after that. I knew why he withdrew that money. He wanted to buy Satoko's birthday present. Yes, he definitely bought that teddy bear yesterday. This is just my guess, but I think he skipped town with that money. You mean he used the money to run away? That's stupid. He was saving to buy Satoko a birthday present. He bought a big expensive teddy bear from that toy store. He'd never used that money to skip town. Yes, the most expensive teddy bear in that toy store was sold. But we can't confirm that it was Satoshi-kun who bought it. Why don't you ask the clerk? Satoshi-kun and I reserved that teddy bear together. Oh. I had a bad feeling. That old man who was watching that store was sleeping when we were there. He looked very senile. Maybe he was also watching that store on that day, and even though Satoshi-kun brought the teddy bear, he didn't remember. Oishi put on a wry smile. Looked like he already tried to question that old man. Anyway, it's Satoshi-kun who bought that teddy bear. He must have saved just enough to buy it, so he shouldn't have been able to run away after. That's nonsense. Alright, let's say he really did buy the teddy bear. Then why didn't he come home with it? At that point, I felt as though my heart had turned to ice. Satoshi-kun had been working hard to buy that teddy bear, even though he was under extreme mental and physical stress. After all that, he finally managed to buy it. It's unthinkable that somebody else just showed up and bought the same teddy bear. The teddy bear was gone because Satoshi-kun bought it. Nobody else. But if so, Satoshi-kun should have given it to Satoko. But though he bought a present for her, he didn't come home. Didn't come home? That was impossible. He would have gone straight home with that teddy bear. He wouldn't think of running away after buying the teddy bear. Even though Satoshi-kun wanted to run away from the police, he'd never leave without giving Satoko her present. Anyway, it must have been Satoshi-kun who bought that teddy bear. I could say that with 100% certainty. The question was, why didn't he bring it home? That teddy bear was huge. It wouldn't fit into the basket of a bicycle. He might have brought some straps to tie it to his bike. He wouldn't have thought of running away on a wobbly bicycle like that. He necessarily had to go home after buying the teddy bear from the store after withdrawing the money. Nothing could have happened when he was going between the ATM and the toy store. It was impossible. Nobody else could possibly have bought that teddy bear. Never. That teddy bear had been sitting in the showcase up until that day. Everybody could see it when they passed by, but nobody wanted it. It's impossible that it could have been somebody else. There should be no question that he went to that toy store after he withdrew the money. What about the route between the toy store and his home? There shouldn't be any question there either. He shouldn't have been able to do anything with that huge toy. He shouldn't even have thought of making a stop on the way. So he must have headed home, right after he bought that teddy bear. But nobody saw him after that. It was simple then. Satoshi-kun went missing on his way home from the toy store. He went missing? What did that mean? I was sure he killed his aunt. He's not that shrewd. Maybe he couldn't bear the pressure from the police? Was he resigned to the idea that the police were going to arrest him soon, regardless of my help? Did he decide to run away? Did he think that he should disappear until things cooled down, rather than get arrested? That was definitely absolutely impossible. It was impossible that he came to that conclusion on his way home from the toy store. Even if he did, he would have waited until he gave Satoko her birthday present. Satoshi-kun loved Satoko. He shouldn't have spoiled her like that, but anyway. He always tried to be a good brother to her. So he never disappeared before going home. I felt as though the ice was cutting through my heart, expanding the frost. If Satoshi-kun didn't disappear by his own will, the answer was simple. Satoshi-kun disappeared by somebody else's will. Was Satoshi-kun eliminated? That's really stupid, old man. Maniacal laugh. I thought I could shake off the frost in my heart if I laughed loudly enough. I kept laughing until it happened. I kept laughing. And laughing. All the cops in the room stared at me. They thought I'd gone crazy. Didn't care what they thought. I kept laughing until it turned into a cough. Cough, cough, cough. I finished laughing, took a sip of lukewarm coffee. Felt as though the frost in my heart had spread all throughout my guts. I was chilled to the bone. I was freezing. My fingers shook as I held the coffee cup. Shion-san, please listen to me without interrupting. What I'm about to tell you is only a hypothesis. It's all just a theory. You might start laughing in the middle because it may sound ridiculous, but I want you to hear me out. Can you do that? Whatever, just talk. I was feeling far too cold. My teeth were chattering. I felt as though my brain had frozen as well. I lost my ability to think. Couldn't do anything by myself. I could only do as Oishi told me. What he was going to tell me might be the worst possible theory, but I had to listen to it. I know that Satoshi-kun's and Satoko-san's aunt was abusing them, especially Satoko-san. In my opinion, it's normal that Satoshi-kun started thinking about murdering his aunt, because he was just some human being. I had to deny that Satoshi-kun murdered her. But what Oishi was saying was true. I couldn't deny his hypothesis right away. I just kept silent. This is only a hypothesis, alright? Please don't be upset. No interruptions. Agreed? I know. Just go on. Satoshi Hojo planned the murder of his aunt and executed it. We have no proof, okay? It's all theoretical. Alright, I heard. Just keep talking. I'll switch the subject now. Shion-san. You are forbidden from having a relationship with Satoshi-kun, weren't you? I told you to stay away from him, correct? I believe the reason behind that is not that your family hated the Hojos, but that they didn't like the fact that you were involved with the murder suspect. That is actually possible. After all, when I was pretending to be Mion, I had already had a connection with Satoshi-kun, before anyone knew it was Shion. Is this a new thing? Before anyone knew it was Shion, who was spending time around him. Could have been accused when I was helping out the Hinamizawa fighters that the relationship between the Hojos and the Sonozaki was the problem. Sweat. It wouldn't be difficult for the Sonozaki family to know that Satoshi-kun had murdered his aunt. It happened in Hinamizawa. Maybe one of them even saw the murder. The Sonozaki family didn't like that I was in love with the murderer. They decided to step in. Also, you're known to not give up easily, aren't you? Which means, even if the Sonozaki family threatened you or ripped off your nails, you still wouldn't cut ties with Satoshi-kun, would you? I couldn't deny that. I lost most of my means to access Hinamizawa, so my ties to Satoshi-kun were essentially cut, true. But I still knew Satoshi-kun's phone number, and I expected him to rejoin the Hinamizawa fighters eventually. I believe your family knew that a few threats would never be enough for you to break ties with Satoshi-kun. They could threaten you all they liked, to no avail. So, their only option would be to do something about the other person, wouldn't it? What do you mean, do something? What would they do? What? Threatening me was useless, then. They'd do something about Satoshi-kun. What would they have done? If they pulled something, then wouldn't that interrupt his path from the toy store to home? Toy store to home? Toy store to X to home? What's X? What is X? X marks the spot where his path was interrupted. What interrupted it? Why couldn't Satoshi-kun make it home from the toy store if something interrupted him? Why? What's X? X? Well, it's Megaman. I ran out of air, became dizzy, and then collapsed. The floor felt cold. Felt no pain. I'd fallen to the floor like a plastic doll. Oishi and some others rushed over to me and helped me up. Calm down, Shion-san. We're not certain that Satoshi-kun was killed yet. You're not certain he was killed? What the fuck are you talking about? Don't you know about the torture room where they forced me to rip off my fingernails? Don't you know that they say that there are prison cells in a whale for disposing of corpses in the back? If the Sonozaki family wants to eliminate somebody, they definitely kill them in that torture room and dump the body down there. You're not certain? Are you dumb? Is your brain made of tofu? If I were in the hag's position, I'd kill him for sure. I wouldn't let him get away. If I would kill him, then the hag would definitely kill him. Shion-san, please calm down. This is unconfirmed, but I have information that somebody witnessed a young runaway male at Nagoya Station. They took a train from there to Tokyo. The clothes didn't match, but it is possible that he changed what he was wearing to hide from the police. It's still possible that it was him. Is he alive? Is he? This is also a theory, but let me go on. Your twin sister Mion-san is the closest person to Oryu Sonozaki, correct? I'm assuming that Mion-san stopped Oryu when she suggested murdering Satoshi-kun furtively. Mion? That was possible. She could have tried to calm things down out of pity for me. That idiot was always so indecisive. She should have been clear on if she wanted to save him or not. But she probably seemed vague about that. She must have persuaded the hag to reduce the punishment to banishment instead of death, just to avoid feeling guilty. I believe that Sonozaki family contacted Satoshi-kun. They probably told him that they couldn't cover up the murder, and told him to disappear somewhere far away. They forced him to be more accurate. Satoshi-kun would have rejected that. Would never leave Satoko behind. I agree with you. Satoshi-kun was working at the places Mion-san referred to him to, wasn't he? So the family knew that he had enough money for a getaway. But he never used it for anything other than buying that teddy bear. You're right. He must have gone straight to the toy store after he returned the money. But What if the teddy bear was already sold when he got there? That would have been a very desolate situation. He'd been working hard. While his aunt abused him, he worked at many different jobs. The money was worth all that pain. He went to the toy store with that money in order to buy his beloved sister a present. That was the only purpose for that money. He must have looked for the teddy bear as he'd always done, but it was gone. He wouldn't have gone to a picnic right away, because he was always so optimistic. He might have thought the store was wrapping the gift for him, because he told them that he'd pick it up that day. He must have gone to the store joyously. I couldn't guess at exactly what happened next. My heart would tear up if I tried to imagine it anyway. Why didn't they have it, even though he had it reserved? Did that old man understand the situation, or was he just sending out? Maybe it would have been the same even if it wasn't that old man who was at the store at that time. If a bunch of fierce-looking subordinate from the Sonozaki family went in and showed them the money, nobody could have rejected it. Satoshi-kun must have sunk into silence. No matter how hard he complained, the teddy bear was gone. He probably never even considered that his dream might be taken away. He must have been wobbling his way home in sorrow, leaning on the telephone poles every now and then. It was the day he wanted Satoko to be happy the most. He couldn't get the present she wanted the most. Probably didn't think of getting another gift, because it was unimaginable that he couldn't get that teddy bear. He might imagine how Satoko would react when she found out he had no present for her. He must have looked unbelievably sad and empty. The money he'd been saving meant nothing anymore. Satoshi-kun never cried, even at his toughest moments. Did he even know how to cry? It was always Satoko who was crying. So, Satoshi-kun never learned how to cry, and he grew up that way. Did you know? People shed sadness from their hearts with tears. Satoshi-kun wasn't even allowed to do that. Even though his heart was filled with sorrow, he couldn't let it out. You insisted he wouldn't leave Satoko-san behind, didn't you? But think, what if the Sonozaki family told him that they'd look after her after his disappearance? After Satoshi-kun found out the teddy bear was gone, all he had left were some crumpled bills. The family told him it was just a matter of time before the police got to him. They told him to run away. They said they'd take care of Satoko. Satoshi-kun didn't feel like seeing his sister. He wandered and found himself at Okonomiya Station. He must have been apologizing to Satoko so many times in his mind. He swore to come back someday. He headed to Nagoya, and then to Tokyo. But that man, he's alive. He's alive. I should be able to see him again someday. He must be coming back, so I'll definitely see him again. I assumed that the Sonozaki family set up some place for him to stay. Satoshi-kun must have gone there. So, he's safe. He's coming back someday, right? Oishi looked up at the ceiling and stretched. He didn't answer me. On June 24th, 1982, Satoshi Hojo went missing. There is a possibility that he ran away, as he was the prime suspect of the murder that happened on the 20th of the same month. Allegedly, someone resembling him was seen at Nagoya Station, embarking on a train heading to Tokyo, but the truth is unknown. No one has seen him since. As a matter of fact, no one even knows if he's still alive. Right, that's what it said. Man. I guess next time it's gonna time jump. 1983. Page 34, 42. Train to nowhere? Okay. Let's read these tips and then that'll be the stream. 3442. The information that Satoshi-kun might have headed to Tokyo hasn't been verified. It started as follows. A young man came to the lost and found window looking for his wallet. The station employee asked him to write down his name on the form. Then the young man started writing Hojo as his name, but he stopped in the middle, crumpled the form, and wrote a totally different name on another form. Is this the theory, or...? Information. Huh. Another station employee witnessed a similar-looking young man rushing into the train heading to Tokyo. The employee from the Lost and Found, and the employee who was on the platform, talked about the suspicious young man in the locker room. And that was all. The wallet of the man named Hojo was never reported as found to the Lost and Found office. So it's not even confirmed. At first, I thought Ueshi's theory that the Sonozaki family banished Satoshi-kun from Hinamizawa and looked after Satoko in return was bogus. But thinking about it now, it doesn't seem too far-fetched. After all, Satoko Hojo started living with Rika Furude after Satoshi-kun's disappearance. Rika Furude isn't just a regular girl. She was the head of the Furude family, one of the 3 families. The head of the Kimiyoshi family is Rika Furude's guardian. The Sonozaki family probably couldn't step in due to having been officially opposed to the Hojo family. The Satoko Hojo is in the custody of the 3 families now. Even though the Hojo family was severely ostracized during the dam conflict, Satoko Hojo was now under protection. Seems as though only Satoko was exempted from blame. Why was she spared, even though Satoshi-kun wasn't? Look, she's like 12. Maybe younger. But yeah. That's chapter 7. Alright. Well, probably not later tonight. I think definitely tomorrow, though. I think we're back to, well, I don't want to say it, but, you know, we're fine. But yeah, we'll continue this tomorrow. Then, let's see where it goes. Looks like we're definitely going to be in 1983 tomorrow, so let's see what happens. I mean, we already know what happens, right? She kills Rika, she kills Satoko. Well, first it's Kimiyoshi, right? Oh, right, doesn't she kill Oryu too, right? So I guess Oryu first, then Kimiyoshi, then Rika, and then Satoko, then Neon, right? Then Keiichi. I have to go back and check, because I'm pretty sure Rena didn't die, right? Because she stayed behind and she let the police know, right? But anyways, that's the stream. So, thanks for tuning in. Thanks everybody for hanging out. And yeah, we'll continue this some other time. It's good stuff. Yeah. Have a good one. Bye.